What is going on, everybody? Welcome in to Final Yard Football on YouTube, where I do play-by-play of football games throughout the season here. And tonight we have preseason football action with the NFL as the Seattle Seahawks take on the Minnesota Vikings. Thanks so much, guys, for joining me on here on the channel. And welcome, Brent here to the channel. Thanks so much, man, for joining me back once again. So, first time I've ever done two teams here from the NFC. Since this is only my third stream ever on this football channel, we just keep on growing and growing and growing. So I'll be doing play-by-play here. If you guys enjoy the NBA and basketball and college basketball as well, I also have a basketball channel that I do. It's called Behind the Arc Basketball. It's on YouTube, so check that out as well. But we got Minnesota going up against Seattle in this one. This one taking place at US Bank Stadium, home of the Minnesota Vikings. So looking at the Vikings, as their first game of the preseason, they beat the New Orleans Saints 34-25. Sean Mannion led the way in passing, 7 for 13, 102 yards and a touchdown pass. Kirk Cousins was perfect on his only drive of the game last week in the first game of the preseason. 4 for 4, 65 yards and a TD pass for Kirk Cousins. Kyle Sloter went 6 for 7, 62 yards and a touchdown pass, and Jake Browning went 2 for 3 for 18 yards in that game. Kirk Cousins last season, 70% completions, as the Minnesota Vikings just barely missed out in the playoffs last season. They finished with a record of 8-7-1. Hey, we got Vegas Vix back on the channel. Thanks so much, man, for joining me back here. So, two people from last night with the Patriots against Tennessee are back. That's awesome, guys. Thanks so much for joining me back here once again. But the rushing attack from Minnesota was just crazy in their first game of the preseason. 213 yards on the ground. That's just insane how many yards they carried the ball for. 27 carries, 213 yards on the ground, and a touchdown carry for the Minnesota Vikings in the first game of the preseason last week against New Orleans. Mike Boone led the rushing attack. He only had 4 carries, but he picked up 70 yards and scored a touchdown run. Amir Abdullah was right behind him, 4 carries for 63 yards. Nate Meters had a pick 6 on the defensive end for the Minnesota Vikings, but one of the problems for Minnesota last week was that they had a ton of penalties, just like the Patriots last night and the week before against the Lions. 13 penalties for Minnesota last week against the Saints for 136 yards, so that's something that Mike Zimmer will be addressing for sure, or should have addressed this coming week into this game. As we flip the script here, the Seattle Seahawks, they also won their first preseason game. It was against the Denver Broncos, 22-14, as former Denver Broncos quarterback Paxton Lynch played in the game and completed 11 passes out of 15 passing attempts, 109 yards in a touchdown throw, as well as a rushing touchdown for Paxton Lynch in his preseason debut for the Seattle Seahawks. Xavier Turner led the rushing attack, 13 carries, but only had 42 yards in the first preseason game for Seattle. Jazz Ferguson led the receptions department, 4 receptions for 54 yards and a touchdown reception, and Austin Calitro and Marquise Blair on the defensive end for Seattle both led the team with 6 tackles. Jason Myers coming over from the New York Jets as the kicker now for the Seattle Seahawks. He also had a 55-yard field goal in that game, as Jason Myers was basically the lone bright spot last season for the New York Jets in there for the kicking game. I think he was like a top 5 kicker in fantasy as well. But yeah, very sad day today to hear about Cedric Benson, as he played in the NFL and he was at the University of Texas. Very sad to hear about his passing today for sure, Brent. I'm going to see if I can get up the article by ESPN. Sad day, though, in the NFL. Prayers out towards Cedric Benson and his family. Just so sad to hear. He's only 36 years old. Former NFL running back. Yeah, it's unfortunate. He died today in a motorcycle crash. That's just so sad. So, prayers out towards Cedric Benson and his family and friends, and the Texas Longhorns organization, and out towards the NFL. Actually, Ricky Williams, former running back of the Dolphins back in the 2000s, actually posted a picture with him and Cedric Benson on Instagram, as I saw the post by ESPN. But looking at both of these offenses, the wide receiving core for both of these teams, and a ton of help. Seattle needs a whole lot of help in their wide receiving department. One of the big departures here Doug Baldwin, two-time Pro Bowl wide receiver, announced his retirement in the offseason. He was the number 2 wideout from this past season. Doug Baldwin for the Seattle Seahawks. He had huge seasons back in 2015, 2016, as he had both of those seasons 1,000+ yards receiving. Number 2 receiver last season, though, behind Tyler Lockett, who had 57 receptions for 965 yards. Almost made it there to the 1,000 yards receiving last year. 10 touchdown receptions by Tyler Lockett. But other than Tyler Lockett, and in there from last season as well was David Moore, who scored 5 touchdown receptions. Basically, this whole wide receiving core is new. And hey, what's good, Triet? So Triet bringing up DK Metcalf for the Seattle Seahawks. They picked him up in the second round of the draft, pick number 64. So he's going to be an impact stepping in to replace Doug Baldwin, as he's a rookie from Ole Miss. 64th overall draft pick, DK Metcalf. And then they also have Gary Jennings Jr. in their 4th round draft pick that they picked up in this past year's draft. And John Ursua out of the 7th round from Hawaii. So a lot of young wide receivers trying to make a name for themselves in the Seattle Seahawks roster. As far as the Vikings offense going, the wideouts here, they have the 2 set in stone. Both of them, the 1-2 punch on the wide receiving end, going basically in the fantasy drafts for both of these wide receivers. Probably like wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 at the least will be Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen, crazy season he had to start out. Like the first 8 games last season, all 100+ receiving yards he had in the first 8 games of the season. Finished with 9 reception touchdowns, but Adam Thielen went off. I believe he was like the number 1 player in all of fantasy football halfway through the season last season. But also in there, Stephon Diggs, over 1,000 receiving yards this past season as well. Number 2 on the team behind Adam Thielen. But other than that, the Minnesota Vikings, they really need a wide receiver number 3, and looking like in the preseason, that could possibly be, from these reports I'm seeing, Chad Beebe out of nowhere. 2nd-year player from Northern Illinois, possibly could be a wide receiver 3 for this Vikings team for a wideout. And they have all different types of players here. Laquan Treadwell was a number 1 first-round draft pick 23 out of the 2016 draft, but he just never, ever developed so far in the NFL. Only had 302 receiving yards this past season. And yeah, Kyle Rudolph as well. You need a tight end. You got Kyle Rudolph out there as well. Top 8 tight end in the NFL. I was surprised. So he stayed with the Vikings in the offseason. Looked like he could possibly go someplace in the offseason, but him staying with the Vikings for his 9th season now in the NFL. They did pick up in the draft rookie, 2nd-round draft pick, Irv Smith Jr. from Alabama. Great draft pick here by the Vikings just as a backup tight end. So they provide that depth here at tight end behind Kyle Rudolph with Irv Smith Jr. in the lineup for the Minnesota Vikings. So that's some of the stuff between both of these teams here. A lot of competition trying to go up for that wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 for the Minnesota Vikings. Because basically, but behind Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs in this lineup is all question marks for Minnesota. Brandon Zylstra played a couple games last season at wide receiver, as he played college football for Division III, makes it into the NFL. That's crazy. Concordia Moorhead, he went to Division III at that college, Concordia Moorhead, for Brandon Zylstra. He had over 1,000 receiving yards, played in the Canadian Football League for the team, the Edmonton Eskimos. So it's going to be interesting to see if he makes the roster once again. I think he was an impact towards the end of last season. But yeah, Triet saying Bears rolling the division. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Once again, Chicago, with that defense they have, it's going to be tough to score points, especially on that pass rush or so. When you're led by Khalil Mack out there, it's going to be tough. And that secondary for Chicago just keeps on getting better and better and better. Tons of speed on the offense too. Not a whole lot of like big name wide receivers and running backs, but there's just a ton of speed for the Chicago Bears out there. I like the little guy, Tariq Cohen, 5'8", I believe. But yeah, he was a great pass catching running back last season. Tariq Cohen was. Oh man, I wish he was on my fantasy roster. He ended up in somebody else's hands, but I really enjoyed watching Tariq Cohen last season for the Chicago Bears. And also, speaking about a former Seattle Seahawks running back, former running back Mike Davis from this past season signed in the offseason with Chicago, so he'll be a running back along with Tariq Cohen for the Chicago Bears for this season in the NFC North. And also, for the running back battle here, tons of running backs for Seattle, but they also led the NFL last season. First in the rushing offense in 2018 with 2,560 rushing yards on the ground for the Seattle Seahawks. And they did it in multiple ways with multiple players here. Rashad Penny, 27th overall draft pick from the NFL draft in 2018. He was a part of that. Didn't get the playing time early on, but towards the late end of the season when the injuries did pile up, Rashard Penny did get his chance. Also in there, a couple of these running backs. CJ Prosise trying to battle for a roster spot here. He's looking like he's going to be the number 4 running back on this roster. But the main running back last season, Chris Carson, over 1,000 yards rushing, 9 rushing touchdowns for Seattle this past season. And then J.D. McKissick was also a running back, but he spent last season basically on the injured reserve for most of that season with a foot injury. J.D. McKissick had like a big game. It was like one game back in 2017, Sunday Night Football. He had one big game. CJ Prosise as well was a Sunday Night Football superstar. Also, that his first ever appearance, he had over 60 rushing yards against the Patriots. I remember that game. That was crazy, just breaking tackles left and right. But here we are getting ready for action, as we get the Vikings going up against the Seahawks here with a retractable roof on its way at U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota for this one. I didn't watch the whole game against the Saints and Chargers. I watched the very end, though. But, oh, man, what a comeback by the Saints. Taysom Hill just delivering towards the end. I watched the very end of the game, Taysom Hill. But I saw the Saints went for that 2-point conversion. Taysom Hill got absolutely cracked by the Chargers defense on that. No chance. But here we are underway as the Seahawks kick it off. Minnesota returning now to the 10 to the 15, taking it down the right side of the sideline, and they get out. They get tackled around the 19-yard line. So Minnesota will get the ball to start first here in this one at home. So the Vikings to start off this one. So Kirk Cousins, starting quarterback, 30 touchdown passes, 10 interceptions this past season. Top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I believe he was number 10 this past season in passing yards as Kirk Cousins gets the start here. He played 2012, 2017 with the Washington Redskins. Part of that trade with Alex Smith going over to Washington. Not so great luck for the Redskins, but he went to Minnesota. That is a 5-yard carry right there up the gut by the rookie Alexander Madison from Boise State. 3rd-round draft pick. Looking like he's going to be number 2 on the chart, right behind Dalvin Cook on the roster. So, good start right there with a 5-yard run. So, Minnesota starts it out. Alexander Madison with a 5-yard run. 2nd and 5. Ball here at the 24-yard line from Minnesota's Kirk Cousins under center. Drops back, and he's going to pass down the middle, complete for a first down to the big tight end, Kyle Rudolph, who hauls it in for the first down catch. Number 82 is always there when you need him. He's got great hands as well. Snags in the ball for a first down. So 1st and 10 here at the Minnesota 36-yard line. So Kyle Rudolph right there with a catch, and we got 13:50 left to go in the first quarter. 1st and 10. Ball now at the 36-yard line. Play action fake. Cousins takes the snap, goes and passes left side here for around 5-6 yards on the play, on the catch. And it goes to Adam Thielen, number 1 fantasy wideout throughout the first 8 weeks of fantasy football this past season in the NFL. So Adam Thielen for a 5-yard catch there brings up a 2nd and 5 for Minnesota. Oh, wow. Dontrell Inman released today. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't checked any of the Patriots news today. I was out for most of the day today. But, yeah, I could definitely expect that. But surprised that it came so soon. I thought it would come around, like, when the roster cuts actually happen, like late August, early September or so. As Kirk Cousins takes the snap, rolls out to his right, and completes that pass right there for a first down as they move the chains on that little check down pass right there towards the right side underneath to Adam Thielen, but gets enough for the first down. They needed 4, they got 5. 1st and 10 once again for Minnesota. Kirk Cousins, perfect so far on this drive. He is a perfect 3 for 3. He's under center here. Ace formation for the Vikings. It's going to be a running back toss to the running back right there. Gains around a gain of 2 on the running back toss towards the right side, but they're moving it towards around midfield right now for the Minnesota Vikings. Ball will be spotted at the Minnesota 49. So right now the starting defense for Seattle having all types of problems trying to stop this Minnesota offense right now in this game. Perfect for Kirk Cousins. 3 for 3, 22 yards so far in this one. 12 minutes left to go in the first quarter. 2nd and 7 here for the Minnesota Vikings as Thielen goes with a jet sweep going around towards his right, and he's going to pick up around 6 yards in the play. Brings up a 3rd and 1. So now they're into Seattle territory. Jet sweep right there as Adam Thielen went from the left side of the screen all the way to the right on a jet sweep. Got the handoff from Kirk Cousins and took it for almost a first down. Just needed one more yard, but almost got there. So bring up a 3rd and 1 here from Minnesota. Oh, interesting. So Dontrell Inman actually wanted to be released, what Vegas Vix is pointing out there. That's quite interesting. So he must have another team in mind for him or something. Must have not been a fit at all for the Patriots. Didn't look like he was going to be a fit into Bill's organization, that was for sure. Looks like a timeout's been called by Mike Zimmer here on the field. 11.5 left to go in the first quarter right now, and the score tied up at 0 between both of these teams. So the Vikings with the ball in their first drive, and they've been doing pretty well so far. Alexander Mattison leading the way in the running category right now. 8 rushing yards on 2 total carries. Adam Thielen with a jet sweep went for 5 yards, and Kirk Cousins a perfect 3 for 3 so far for 22 yards passing in the air. So that's how this game's gone so far. Thanks so much for joining me, as this is Final Yard Football on YouTube. What I do on this channel is I call it play-by-play of football action. And I'll be back next game. Carolina Panthers going up against New England Patriots. That'll be on Thursday night. That'll be fun to call. So we got 3rd and 2 coming up here for the Minnesota Vikings. Ball spotted at the 45-yard line of Seattle territory right now. Kirk Cousins under center. Madison in the ace formation, the running back here behind him, as Kirk Cousins will hand it off to Madison up the middle, bouncing off tacklers. Great second effort, as it looked like he was going to be stopped for a loss, but he does get it back to the line of scrimmage. Not enough, though, for a first down, so it looks like Minnesota is going to have to punt this ball away. So not yet in field goal position, but the Vikings will have to punt this ball away. So that big defensive front right there. You know, Quinton Jefferson for the Seahawks was on him for a moment. The big defensive front coming through right there for Seattle to wrap him up. All white jerseys all around the purple running back jersey right there. And I thought they're going to punt it away, but they're going to go for it. 4th and 1 here. Run up the middle, and they do get it enough for the effort. They needed 1, they got 2 right there. Up the middle goes CJ Ham for the first down for Minnesota. So they'll continue to keep this clock rolling right here with 10.5 left to go in the first quarter, as CJ Ham takes his first carry of the game for the Vikings, goes up the gut for 2 yards. So this game is actually on national TV right now. It's on Fox, by the way. Current drive, 8 plays, 39 yards, and over 4.5 minutes taken off the clock. Cousins takes the snap, drops back, little screen pass as he just floated it up a little bit too tall for his running back right there on the screen pass, and it falls incomplete to Alexander Mattison. So that one was incomplete to the rookie running back from Boise State, as they picked up Alexander Mattison, 3rd round pick number 102 in the draft. So brings up a 2nd and 10 here from Minnesota. Ball spotted at the Seattle 41-yard line. Kirk Cousins, that was his first incomplete pass of the game. Right now, 3 for 4, 22 yards. As he's under center right now, ace formation. Seattle bringing in the blitz, and they're going to get right to that busted play right there, going backwards on the carry by CJ Ham. I'm not even sure if that handoff was clean looking at it. The handoff exchange right there was just not clean at all between Kirk Cousins and CJ Ham, just going backwards. Loss of 4 in the play. Brings up a 3rd and 14 right now for Minnesota. Ball spotted at the 45-yard line of Seattle. So Garrett Bradbury, part of that exchange too, as he's the center And looked like it could have been a snap issue. So now Kirk Cousins going empty. He's in the shotgun with his wide receivers 5 wide. Back to pass, takes the snap. Kirk Cousins, here comes the blitz all over him. Cousins throws it away out of bounds. Didn't have a chance right there. No, gonna have to probably, yep, looks like they're gonna finally punt for it. 4th and 14 as the ball spotted at the Seattle 45. So way too long for a field goal. And looks like the punter are gonna come on right now for the Vikings, as that is Corey Vedvik, acquired on Monday from the Baltimore Ravens for a 2020 5th-round draft pick. As we got a punting battle going on. Corey Vedvik coming in, first-year player out of Marshall with 9:25 left to go in this first quarter. 4th and 14 here by Minnesota. Vedvik going to punt it away as this ball goes up, and it's going to be signaled to be a fair catch. So fair catch around the 6-yard line for Seattle. So Seattle to take this ball over. 9:18 left to go in the first quarter. As this is Final Yard Football on YouTube. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button as well. And I'll change possession arrows here in this one. So Seattle will take the ball over at their own 7-yard line by the fair catch on the punt by DJ Moore. So looking at here, Seattle's offense will get their first go on in this game. So we just saw Kirk Cousins out on the field. Probably we're going to see Russell Wilson for this one as well for the Seahawks. So looking at some of those numbers on how that first drive went for the Vikings. 3 first downs, 2 of them rushing first downs. They also got a passing first down as well. 11 total plays on that drive for 39 yards, but they were going forward. They went for a 4th down. They did convert it, but then they were going backwards after that off the exchange from the center to Kirk Cousins and the CJ Ham. They got walloped on one of those plays, forced a 3rd and 14, and then the last play, Seattle brought the blitz, and Kirk Cousins had no chance as the blockers could not control everybody, and the whole house was sent from Seattle, rushing the whole defensive line, and Kirk Cousins had to be forced out of the pocket, throw the ball away out of bounds. So right now, the numbers look like this for the first drive by Kirk Cousins. 3 completions, 5 attempts, 22 yards in the air. And the leading running back, 3 carries for 9 yards by Alexander Madison. He had his long carry was for 5 yards. Adam Thielen had a jet sweep run towards the right for 5 yards in this one. CJ Ham had a 4th down conversion up the gut of the Seattle defense early on in this one for 3 yards. So right now we're on commercial break. Gonna get ready to go back here momentarily. Seattle will have the ball for their first chance in this one. As we look to the Vikings receiving so far in this game, Kyle Rudolph and Adam Thielen leading the way in receptions right now. Adam Thielen, 2 catches for 11 yards combined so far in this game. His longest reception was for 6 yards. Kyle Rudolph did get an 11-yard reception up the middle of the field, the first catch of the game from Kirk Cousins on the pass. As those have been the wide receivers and tight ends to catch the ball so far, Kyle Rudolph and Adam Thielen. No Stephon Diggs so far with his receiving action in this one. But now we'll see the Seattle Seahawks right now. Russell Wilson under center to start out this game for the Seattle Seahawks. Ball will be placed at their own 7-yard line, so 93 yards to the end zone. Wilson going to hand this one off, running left side right there by the running back. Going to take it out of bounds, and that's Chris Carson, starting running back for Seattle. Great start right there on the run towards the left. Picks up around 5 or 6 on the play. So the number 1 rushing offense from a year ago, going for over 2,500 rushing yards this past season for the Seattle Seahawks, led the NFL in rushing. And it was Chris Carson who was an over 1,000-yard rusher this past season, 9 rushing touchdowns. Russell Wilson takes the snap, rolls out, and complete to a wide-open wide receiver right there on the crossing route. Left side complete to the number 1 wide out from a year ago, Tyler Lockett. Is good for a first down. He was wide open right there in the coverage. Minnesota just nobody covering him underneath as Tyler Lockett just completely open, takes the ball out of bounds right there. So they get a pretty good chunk out of that one. Ball will be placed at the Seattle 29-yard line, so around a 16-yard pickup on the catch. Seattle takes the snap right there by Russell Wilson, drops back, fires another play right there, similar to the Lockett catch. This one goes complete again. It's this time Jaron Brown who catches the ball for another first down. Another chunk play right there by Jaron Brown. Same play, just getting open, little crosser Down the middle towards the left sideline with a crosser right there by Jerron Brown gets the first down. So 7:50 left to go in this first quarter. Back-to-back first down passes by Russell Wilson. Ball now at the 48-yard line of Seattle. Seattle here. Russell Wilson going to keep it on the quarterback run right there on the little option play, and he'll pick up around 3 on the play. Takes it past midfield. So Vikings defense was the number 3 defense from a year ago in the NFL in the passing defense, but right now back-to-back first downs on the pass by Russell Wilson to start. So Russell Wilson in the shotgun. Chris Carson running back towards his left right now. 7:20 left to go in the first quarters. He's going to go a running back draw here with Carson. There is a flag, though, in this play. 7:19 left to go in the first quarter. Hey, what's good? We got Daniel Jones back on the channel. What's good, my man? Daniel Jones with a little bit of resting time now since he played a couple of days ago in the preseason. So, yeah, can't wait to see what Daniel Jones can do if he does get the opportunity to get that chance over Eli someday for the Giants. We got some professional NFL football players in here on the channel, which is quite awesome. Just like the basketball channel, getting some interesting names in there as well, just like the football channel. 2nd and 10 after that 5-yard penalty by Seattle. So the ball will be back in their territory right now at the Seattle 48. Russell Wilson, play action, going to pass this one right side, and it's complete as they'll pick up around 5 on the play to Tyler Lockett. Number 1 wideout from this past season, though. Tyler Lockett gets half of it back. Brings up a 3rd and 5. So Wilson to Lockett, best in the NFL this past season in quarterback rating. 158.3 for the QB rating. 10 touchdown passes to Lockett from Russell Wilson. 57 completed passes out of 70 attempts. So now we got a 3rd and 5 on the field. Ball at the Minnesota 47 for Russell Wilson. Wilson in the shotgun as we got Chris Carson running back towards his right. Minnesota's going to rush for Wilson. Back to pass. Fires it. And it's a little bit too high over the wide receiver's fingertips right there. Jerron Brown. And it's incomplete. And it's going to be a punt here by the Seahawks. 6:25 left to go in the first quarter as Russell Wilson in the pressure. He got away at that one just a little bit too high. Intended for Jerron Brown, the former Arizona Cardinal right there. Just off the tippy top of his fingertips, falls incomplete. So Jerron Brown's one of those other wide receivers that will be on the roster here for Seattle. Wasn't like a big name wide receiver. Coming over from Arizona, though, him and John Brown played together 2013 to 2017 on the Cardinals. This ball gets punted away by Michael Dixon, and it's a fair catch call by Minnesota. They'll fair catch it around their 10-yard line. So the Vikings to start off once again on their second drive of this game, as this is Final Yard Football on YouTube. Make sure to hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button as well if you're new to this channel, as I call play-by-play of football action on Final Yard Football on YouTube. So let's look here. Russell Wilson had a pretty good start to this drive. Back-to-back first downs they had with 15-yard passes for back-to-back first downs. But right now, Russell Wilson, 3 for 4 passing in this game for 40 yards. Quarterback rating of 106.3 to start out this game. Russell Wilson also had a 5-yard rush so far in this one on a quarterback keeper towards the left-hand side out of bounds on the read option. Also, Chris Carson with a 6-yard run. That's the only rush by a running back so far. So only 2 rushes by Seattle so far. One by Russell Wilson and one by Chris Carson in this game. So we should be seeing a whole lot more of the Seattle rushing attack throughout the season. Number 1 rushing offense from a year ago. So right now we're just on another commercial break in this game. So we'll see Minnesota again with the ball. This game's moving fast. 6:18 left to go in this first quarter. So this game is actually moving really fast. Not a whole lot of penalties so far. Not a whole lot of incomplete passes either in this one. So we look towards some of the statistics here. Total yardage. Seattle outgaining Minnesota on their first drive. 51-39 so far is the total yards number in this one. As far as the penalties, both of these teams almost playing exactly clean football so far. Minnesota, not a single penalty on their end. Seattle right now, 1 penalty for 5 yards in the offensive end, backing them up. We're going to look towards the football scores today. There was one game today in the NFL, and a great comeback win earlier today by the New Orleans Saints. They beat the Los Angeles Chargers 19-17 today, led by Taysom Hill for the New Orleans Saints. He went 11 for 15, 136 yards in the air, and 2 touchdown passes. So Taysom Hill picking off where he left off last season, basically all over the place for Sean Payton's squad. Sean Payton and the Saints love him. He can do anything Taysom Hill can. Comes in, goes for the read option on like a 4th down conversion or so for the Saints, and then he also plays special teams and tackles players on kickoffs and punt returns. So that's what you gotta like, the versatility of Taysom Hill leading his team today with a victory. But here we are, back to action. The Vikings will get the ball at their own 10-yard line as they hand it off up the middle. It's a tackle for a loss, and the ball's fumbled. Madison fumbled it, and Seattle is going to recover it. A turnover by the Vikings at their own territory. The field in Minnesota coughs up the ball right there with a run up the middle by the first round, by the draft pick, Alexander Madison, first-year player from Boise State, coughs up the ball. He was picked up in the draft as well. 3rd round draft pick, 102 overall, coughs up the ball right there. What a tackle. Number 97 for the Seahawks coming in. Poona Ford, 2nd-year player, with a huge tackle and strips out the ball. And it's going to be great field possession to take over for the Seahawks. So Alexander Madison is negative 1 yard rush, and he gets the ball stripped out of him. Russell Wilson, ball now at the Minnesota 9. To start out this one, changing the possession arrow here. Seattle has it off the turnover. 1 play, 1 fumble by the Vikings. 5:35 left to go in the first. Oh. 5:35 left to go in the first. The refs actually were on the field for a second there. So the refs said that, okay, interesting. So the refs, I thought it was going to be a fumble. They said that he got taken down in the backfield. Okay, so they're going to change the call here. He was taken down into the backfield. They just changed the call, and Minnesota got the ball up the gut again when Madison redeems himself there and picks up positive yardage. Man, I'm looking at the replay. That was a complete fumble. That was a complete fumble by Minnesota. His knee was not down. 3rd and 5 here for the Vikings. They still have the ball. Pass. Long pass to Thielen. Hauls it in for a big play. Up in the air, right side of the sideline. They have it all the way to midfield. 4:52 left to go in the first quarter right there as Adam Thielen hauls in the long ball by Kirk Cousins. So 2 plays ago, we thought that Minnesota turned over the ball. That's what everybody thought on the field. But they get it back. They convert a 3rd and 5 right there with Adam Thielen with his big play ability, hauling in a long pass for 34 yards. So the ball will be spotted at the Minnesota 49 right now for the Viking. Yeah, definitely looked like a fumble. That's why I changed the possession arrow. I even looked at the replay. His knee was not down on the turf at all. Pete Carroll talking over to the refs right now, like. So Pete Carroll's challenging the catch made by Adam Thielen. So if this stands, it will be a long catch. It will be a 30. It'll be like a 31-yard catch on the field by Adam Thielen. The ball will be placed at the Minnesota 49-yard line. So Pete Carroll will challenge that catch, but I don't know why he didn't challenge that fumble. That clearly, what Vegas Vix is pointing out, looked to be a fumble. I thought it was going to be a fumble. The Seattle offense was about ready to take over the field, and then we looked up. Minnesota was still back on the field. But yeah, it looked like a complete fumble right there. Seattle all thought that they had the ball, but crazy. But right now on another commercial break, 4:59 left to go in this first quarter. This is Final Yard Football on YouTube. So last play right there, Kirk Cousins just airs it out down the field. Big pass to Adam Thielen as Pete Carroll is challenging if Adam Thielen was in bounds or not. So this play is under review. So this is the last game tonight. We only had 2 games today on this Sunday for football. The actual football will start off a couple weeks from now with Week 1 action on Sunday. Can't wait for that with the NFL on Sunday. Be doing some play-by-play for you guys. Especially, I'll be doing, of course, the Pats versus Steelers play-by-play Sunday Night Football. Can't wait for that. Interesting decision here. Sunday night game, and it's on Fox. It's interesting why NBC didn't pick this one up. I'm actually going to check to see what's on NBC tonight right now. Interesting, though, that Fox actually picked up this game today. Looks like they got America's Got Talent on right now on NBC, which is interesting. So, NBC doing a game next week. I think it's the Steelers who's playing next week. I'm going to get that up. Preseason Week 3. I believe Steelers playing next week on Sunday night preseason football. And I'll be doing play-by-play of that game. Also, Patriots against Carolina. I'll be doing that game on Thursday. Quick turnaround for the Pats. Oh, yes, it's against the Tennessee Titans. So, it looks like I get Tennessee again. So, I already have the lineup for Tennessee. So, that's good. So, Steelers going up against Tennessee on Sunday. I'll have that game for you guys. Same time as this one, at 8 p.m. Eastern time, that game will start. So, Pete Carroll tried the challenge. He lost the challenge, though, and it's going to be a 34-yard catch by Adam Thielen as it stands. So, Minnesota takes this ball at the 49-yard line in their territory. Another pass, deep pass, airing it out the Thielen, down the field, and this one batted down, but that is pass interference by the defense. Kirk Cousins going all the way up into the air right there to Adam Thielen towards the end zone. Around the 5-yard line, he would have caught the ball with his momentum, pushing him towards the end zone. Thielen trying to go in for the basket catch, and the Seattle defender behind him, all over him right there. Number 37, Trey Flowers, the cornerback for Seattle. Not the Trey Flowers that plays on the Detroit Lions, but the Trey Flowers that plays on Seattle here gets called with a pass interference call, and that is not good for Seattle right there as far as the defense. Places the ball all the way at the 6-yard line of Seattle territory. So that is a big penalty, pass interference right there by the Seahawks. Ball now for the Vikings. Ace formation at the 6-yard line of Seattle territory. Handoff here. Left side to Madison, and he's going to get stopped back for a loss around 2 on the play, but another flag is down. 4:19 left to go in the first quarter. So that penalty was around a 45-yard penalty that they got charged for on the play. We're going to see what the flag's all about here. So we'll see the flag. So personal foul clipping by the offense by the Minnesota Vikings as they had the ball at the 6-yard line. Kyle Rudolph, the guilty party there of the clipping block on the play. It's going to take Minnesota a little bit more back. So let's see here on the replay. Kyle Rudolph just going down low right into the Seattle defender trying to make the tackle. He gets called with a clipping penalty. So Seattle will take some steps back now as it will still be a 1st and goal. $4:19 left to go in the first quarter right now as they get taken all the way back out of the red zone right now. Ball will be placed at the 21-yard line of Seattle. Minnesota with the ball in their center. Kirk Cousins, he's going to hand this one off to his running back right side running for around a gain of 3 is Alexander Madison. So he picks up around 3 on the play with 4 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Yeah, Detroit playing on Friday against Buffalo on CBS. I'll also be doing that game. So my schedule for this upcoming week, Pats versus Carolina Thursday night. And then Buffalo against Detroit. That game Friday night, that's on CBS. I'll be doing that game. And then on Sunday night, Steelers against Tennessee. I'll have that one for you guys as well. So 3 games in this upcoming week. Quick turnaround for the Patriots. Can't wait to see Tom Brady in action for the first time. Kirk Cousins in the shotgun here. 2nd and goal. Ball at the 19-yard line of Seattle. 3.5 left to go in the first quarter. Cousins back to pass. Fires it right side. And that pass is caught right there by Irv Smith Jr., the tight end. Picks up around a gain of 7 or 8 on the play. So he brings that ball around the 12-yard line. Brings up a 3rd and goal from the 12-yard line here for the Minnesota Vikings. So Irv Smith gets his first grab of the game. Rookie from Alabama picked him up in the second round. Overall pick number 50 out of the draft for the Vikings. 3rd and goal here, ball at the 12-yard line of the Seahawks as Minnesota has the ball running back towards the right. And we got the 4-3 defense here by the Seahawks. Kirk Cousins in the shotgun, takes the snap, drops back by Cousins, fires down the middle, complete but not enough to the end zone, and they're going to have to kick on the field goal. So that pass got complete. First catch of the game by Stephon Diggs for around 4 yards on the play. Brings up a 4th and goal right now. Ball will be placed around the 7-yard line. We have around 2 minutes, 20 seconds left to go in the first quarter. If you guys enjoy what I do, make sure to hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button as well as I call play-by-play of football action here on the channel. This channel is called Final Yard Football on YouTube. So Dan Bailey coming on to kick the field goal here. 24-yard attempt. Last season went only 21 out of 28 for a long of 52 yards, but that one dead center perfect as Minnesota strikes first. 3-zip now. The score in Final Yard Football as the Vikings strike first at home in this game with a Dan Bailey field goal. So Dan Bailey coming over as he was released at the end of the preseason last season by the Dallas Cowboys. By Dan Bailey playing in the NFL. I have how many seasons he's played in the NFL here. Dan Bailey's played 9 seasons. This is his 9th season now playing in the NFL. Played 2011, 2017 for the Dallas Cowboys. Released by Dallas after the end of the preseason last season, and they brought in Brett Maher, who is their new field goal kicker, who played last season for the Dallas Cowboys. But now Minnesota using Dan Bailey once again as a field goal kicker. They started out somebody last season. I'm going to see if I can bring that up for the Vikings, who their kicker was last season. Daniel Carlson. That was the kicker last season for the Vikings. But they cut Daniel Carlson last season. Early on in the season, he struggled. Brought in Dan Bailey, who is a free agent at the time. Dan Bailey, though, only made like 75% of his kicks last season, but did make that one. So that's a positive note there for the Vikings. So right now we're on commercial break. Seattle will get the kickoff. They'll receive the kickoff. After that made field goal by Minnesota by Dan Bailey. So right now on commercial break, and then Minnesota will receive the ball when we do get back to action, as this is Final Yard Football on YouTube. I call it play-by-play of football action here on the channel. Make sure to give this a thumbs up down below. Hit that subscribe button as well. So Kirk Cousins with a couple of bullets on that last drive. One of them was a big 34-yard pass down the field to Adam Thielen, who was incredible last season. First half of the season, he was unstoppable with 8 straight games with 100-plus receiving yards by Adam Thielen. Kirk Cousins now passing 6 completions out of 8 attempts for 68 yards so far in this one. There was another play. Kirk Cousins aired it out to Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen didn't catch the ball, but he was interfered with from behind, so it was a pass interference call by Seattle. It was like a 40. That's what set up Minnesota on the goal. With a 1st and goal, was they got the ball at the 6-yard line. It was like a 45-yard pass interference call or so on that play that set up Minnesota in really good field position. And then they did back it up a little bit with a penalty. They got the ball at the 21-yard line after the penalty. They did get down the field a little bit more, got the ball to around the 7-8-yard line and kicked the field goal and made it. So Seattle to return the kick right now, as this is Final Yard Football on YouTube. This season, pass interference calls can be reviewable on the challenge, as Minnesota will kick this one off, and this ball gets kicked all the way to the back of the end zone. So the Seahawks will take over at their own 25-yard line. Russell Wilson, first drive of the game, he passed the ball 3 completions out of 4 attempts for 40 yards in his first drive of the game. Only 2 rushing attempts by Seattle on their first drive of the game. Chris Carson, 1 rushing carry for 6 yards. Russell Wilson on quarterback option rushed for 5 yards as well. From the #1 rushing offense a year ago in the NFL, the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle now with the ball at the 25-yard line. Russell Wilson in the shotgun 4-3 defense here for the Vikings, as Wilson will go up, denotes the snap. 5 here on the play clock. 4 goes back to the shotgun. 2-1. Gonna get the snap off. They barely do. Redraw up the middle by Chris Carson. He'll gain around 2 on the play. Brings up a 2nd and 8. So 2nd and 8 coming up at the 27-yard line for Seattle. So looking, should be a pass here in 2nd and 8 as Chris Carson goes out wide. Takes the snap by Russell Wilson. Passes that one over to Chris Carson out in the flat. Gains around 3 on the play. And it'll bring up a 3rd and 5 by the Seattle Seahawks here. Ball at the 30-yard line. So 3rd and 5 coming up for Seattle as the first play on the drive was a run up the middle 2 yards by Chris Carson on the HB draw. Chris Carson just caught the ball right there, as his shoe also came off in the play, held jog towards the sideline. He was ranked 5th in the NFL this past season in rushing yards, 1,159 yards carried last season, as Russell Wilson back in the shotgun, running back towards his left right now. 3rd and 5, ball at the 30-yard line. Wilson takes this pass, wobbly pass, completes it though at the right side of the sideline. Hauled in for a catch right there, as that one is enough to move the sticks in the 1st down by Seattle. So Tyler Lockett hauls in the ball right there. The #1 wide receiver on the team from this past season makes a nice route right there towards the right side of the sideline. Gets both feet inbounds. Hey, what's good, Cody? Thanks so much, man, for joining me back on the channel right now. 33 seconds left to go in the 1st quarter. And let's see what we got here. Stoppage in time on the field. Looks like Seattle's going to take a timeout. So the Seahawks right now going to take a timeout as both feet on the replay were in bounds by Tyler Lockett, going up the field for 5 yards and curling towards his right. Looked like it appeared to be on the replay here. Both feet were in bounds, but it looks like Mike Zimmer is going to challenge this, actually. So that's what the timeout here is for in the field. Mike Zimmer of the Minnesota Vikings is going to challenge this play with 33 seconds left to go in the 1st quarter. So if this play stands, it's a whole new set of downs for Seattle. If this play gets reversed and Minnesota does win the challenge, that means that Seattle is going to have to punt from their own 30-yard line. So the challenge on the field for the catch, as it was a 3rd and 5 for Seattle. They got a 6-yard catch out of it by Tyler Lockett at the right side of the sideline. Hey, thanks so much, man, Cody. Great to have you on the football channel. That's awesome. Yeah, I've actually never played football myself, but I played like a whole bunch of football video games growing up, so I'm able to like get into the playbook a little bit and diagnose plays for you guys and let you guys know like what the plays are, what the defensive formations look like, the offensive formation. So you guys will definitely learn a lot from me on this channel or so. So glad to have you guys on this channel. That's awesome to educate all you guys about football or so. And definitely basketball as well with Behind the Arc Basketball. Madden 2009 Classic. Yeah, I used to play all the classic games for the video games or so when I was back in elementary school, middle school. All the classic games. I have Madden 06 sitting at my house. Also, I have College Football 2011. Hey, what's good? We got Ryan here on the channel. Thanks so much, man, for joining me. Oh, that's good to hear. So Ryan getting out of work early today. That's awesome. Yeah, I've been like working all week, guys. I actually, yesterday I had a yard sale at my house for like, it started at like 7 in the morning, went all the way to like 3 in the afternoon. I had a yard sale, and it got like a bunch of customers yesterday, which was absolutely awesome. And today I continued that yard sale. Not as many customers as yesterday on Saturday, but still, what a great weekend. Basically worked this entire weekend doing, running the yard sales at my house, making some pretty good cash, clearing out some of the stuff that I don't use anymore that I grew up when I was a kid. So great to see some stuff go away to clear up some space in my house. And then after yesterday's yard sale, I actually watched the Little League World Series, and then I streamed the Patriots game, and then I'm back here today doing the same thing, which is awesome, and then back to work tomorrow. So they're going to say it's a catch on the field, so it's a 1st down by Seattle. Ball now at the 36-yard line of Seattle territories. The Seahawks have the ball here. Russell Wilson in the shotgun. Chris Carson, the running back, towards the right. 4-3 defense here for Minnesota. As Russell Wilson gonna hand this one off. Running back draw up the middle here by Chris Carson. Gains around 2 on the play. Brings up a 2nd and 8 once again. Oh yeah, can't wait for basketball this season as well. Yeah, it's getting close to NBA and college season here. Actually, doing a video, should be out this upcoming week. My top 25 for college basketball for this upcoming season. So I should be releasing that video this upcoming week. I got like all the information. I just have to record the video and post it for you guys. So much information I got on like all the teams. I had to research like a ton of stuff. But we just ended the first quarter right there, and Seattle has the ball right now at the end of one. The score 3-0 with a Dan Bailey field goal, the only scoring that we've got so far in this game by Minnesota. So we'll start the second quarter here after this commercial break here, as we just ended the first quarter. Do I think Lonzo Ball will play this season? Yeah, I actually think that he'll be good to go this season for Lonzo Ball. I know he's got a younger brother, LaMelo Ball. I know he didn't go to college, LaMelo Ball, actually. He just skipped college to play overseas. Or so. He went to, yeah, all those guys went to Chino Hills High School to play college, or high school basketball out in California. Oh, Carmelo Anthony. Yeah, I think that Carmelo Anthony is basically done, but maybe if somebody could take him or so. Oh. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, but probably not. I'd say for Carmelo Anthony or so. I think this probably. That was probably it for him, most likely. It'd be interesting to see, though, if he was to ever go back on the court. But, yeah, can't wait for Celtics season, though. Can't wait to see the whole new team. I think they're going to be a super fast team out on the court, for sure. They're a little bit undersized, but it's going to be a fun team to watch. Oh, 3 hours ago, I'm looking at this. Carmelo Anthony to the Clippers, question mark. Huh. Heavy.com posted that article coming up on my top stories right here. Gilbert Arenas, 10 hours ago by Yahoo Sports, saying that he thinks that Carmelo Anthony should join the Lakers. So it'll be interesting. So Cody's saying that he's been working out with teams. So interesting to see if he still has it in the tank left to go for Carmelo Anthony, as we are back to action here. Russell Wilson in the shotgun takes the snap. Running back draw up the middle right there by Chris Carson. He gains enough for the first down as he got a nice 9-yard rush right there up the middle. So the #1 rushing offense from this past season, the Seattle Seahawks. So far in this one, the first drive didn't do a whole lot of rushing, but now they've proven that 4 rushing carries by Chris Carson for 20 yards so far in this game. 1st and 10 by the Seahawks right now in the backfield once again. The #1 running back on this team, Chris Carson, ball at the 48-yard line of Seattle. Play action fake. Wilson going to the air, passes that ball, and that one is incomplete. Nice defense into the secondary right there. Clean defense to bat that one down by Harrison Smith, number 22 for the Minnesota Vikings. That ball was intended for Tyler Lockett. If Lockett had hauled that in, it would have been a first down, but Harrison Smith coming behind from Lockett, batting it down. It looked like for a moment, wide open throw right there to Tyler Lockett, but coming out of nowhere for the defense was Harrison Smith, strong safety, 4-time Pro Bowl selection for the Minnesota Vikings. Brings up a 2nd and 10 here, ball at the 48-yard line, as this is another carry by Chris Carson going towards his left, picks it up past midfield around a gain of 5 on the play. So Chris Carson showing you the motor so far, 5 carries for 25 yards, brings up a 3rd and 5. So we're under 14 minutes left to go in the second quarter right now. 3rd and 5 as we're into Minnesota territory. Seattle with the ball. Flagging this play, and they'll pass it, and this play gets rolled down anyway. So this play will not count towards the Seahawks' false start on the field right now. Yeah, I can't wait to see the Celtics out there on the court with a whole new whole new team this season. It's going to be great to watch. Wow, looking at those numbers, the Seahawks rushing attack, 160 yards per game. That's really great rushing attack right there. That's why they were #1 in the NFL. 3rd and 10, ball at the 48-yard line of Seattle after the penalty as they got charged to it. Russell Wilson, back to pass, fires this one. Deep ball, complete for a first down. A big pass right there and going out of bounds is Jaron Brown with a huge catch on the field. What a catch right there for a big first down by Jaron Brown. Picks up around 33 yards in the air right there from Russell Wilson. Nice pass around the right side of the sideline. Jaron Brown hauls it in. Ball now at the 19-yard line into Vikings territory here. 1st and 10. Russell Wilson in the shotgun. Chris Carson, the running back, towards his left. Tyler Lockett going into motion for a second. Lines up as a slot receiver right now. 4-3 defense. The defensive front here by Minnesota. 4 in the front, 3 in the linebacker motion as this is a run right there. Running back draw up the middle. Goes to the other running back. That's Rashard Penny. Takes it up the middle, but around a loss of 1 on the play right there by Rashard Penny. Rashard Penny coming the first round draft pick. Picked up number 27 in the 2018 draft by Rashard Penny. We got to see him last season around the end of the season, this past season for Rashard Penny. 419 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns from this last season for Penny. 2nd and 10 for the Seahawks. Ball at the 19-yard line of Minnesota. Russell Wilson, ace formation here, rolling out towards his left, and he's going to tuck it in and run. Wilson now takes it for around a gain of 4 on the play, gets out of bounds at the left side of the sideline. So bring up around a 3rd and 7 here. Ball will be placed at the 15-yard line of Minnesota. As Russell Wilson saw that his wideouts were all covered down the field. Oh, he had Tyler Lockett wide open. Completely open right there. All his wideouts in front of him, but the deep guy in the back of the end zone in the corner. But he just completely missed him, Tyler Lockett. Just wide open, but Russell Wilson didn't see him on the last play. Oh, that's awesome. Brent ordered his Super Bowl 53 hat. That's great. That is awesome. Yeah, the hat that they wear for the Patriots streams, actually, I picked up at the Patriots Pro Shop right after Super Bowl 51, when they beat the Falcons. I actually went to college like 15 minutes away from Gillette Stadium, so I used to drive by Gillette Stadium like every single day when I went to college, if I didn't take the highway. If I took Route 1, then I went by Gillette Stadium or so. It depends on like how the traffic was. So, like some days I take Route 1 by Gillette, some days I take 95 going home from college or so, but yeah, the day after the Super Bowl, went to the Pro Shop, got my Super Bowl 51 gear. I didn't get any signatures at training camp, actually. We went on a Sunday. It was packed that day. Like every single day at training camp's packed, but we got great seats at training camp, right on the lawn, on the hill, like right behind the goalpost. And we didn't get like right up front on the hill. We got like the middle portion of the Patriots hill at training camp, going up right behind the goalpost. So Russell Wilson in the shotgun here, 3rd and 6 from the 15. That pass into the flat right there, incomplete, off the fingertips of Chris Carson as he tried to go for a diving attempt at it, but it was a little bit away from him towards the bottom left of his fingertips. Incomplete, brings up a 4th and 6. Chris Carson was open though. If it was around his chest area into his fingertips, it would have been a first down. So 33-yard field goal coming here from Jason Myers, the kicker last season for the New York Jets, says he was a big bright spot. 33 for 36 on field goals last season for the Jets, and this one is up and good. We're tied up at 3 right now. So Jason Myers ties this thing up right now at 33 in this game between Seattle and Minnesota. As this is Final Yard Football on YouTube. 11:34 left to go in the second quarter right now in a tie game. So the Vikings will get this ball back when we do get back to action here. Yeah, it's quite the ride from Ohio to get to Gillette Stadium. I think it's like even longer. So I think from Gillette Stadium to like Pittsburgh is around like 8 hours or so. But Once you get into Ohio, that's where you're going like 9 hours, 10 hours, 11 hours, 12 hours, depending where you are in Ohio or so. If you're out towards like way west, out towards like Indiana or so, you're looking at like a 13-hour ride from the other side towards like western Ohio. But yeah, that would be pretty cool someday to actually see the Patriots in action at Patriots training camp or so. If if you like ever get like a hotel in the area or so and stay like a couple of days or something like that, take the ride down. It's a pretty cool time, and it's completely free to the public too. And they got like all cool, like all little like shops to look into at Patriot Place and stuff. They got like, they also have like some tremendous restaurants that they have too to go out to eat right after training camp. I actually had lunch. It was at a sandwich shop. I believe it's called Capriotti's. We had lunch there, but it was a fantastic steak sandwich that I had there for lunch right after training camp, which was cool. But right now, we're tied up at 3 in this game. Russell Wilson, 6 for 9, 82 yards in the air. And Kirk Cousins, 6 for 8, 68 yards in the air so far. Both quarterbacks looking pretty good so far in action here. Chris Carson leading the rushing attack right now. 5 carries for 25 yards on the ground. On the other side, Alexander Madison leading the way from Minnesota. 6 rushing carries, 17 yards right now by Alexander Madison, as it looks like no Dalvin Cook today for the Vikings, as Dalvin Cook he was picked up early on in the draft for the Vikings back in 2017, but he's been a really good running back for Minnesota whenever he's healthy, but he can't stay healthy. That's been the problem. He had that lingering hamstring issue this past season. Then they lost Latavius Murray. He got signed by New Orleans in the offseason. But if Dalvin Cook can stay healthy, he'd be a fantastic option as running back, as he tore his ACL in his first season as running back. But here we are getting ready for action. 3-3 right now, and the Vikings will receive this ball a yard deep from the Aaron's end, taking it out 15, 20. And they take it all the way to around the 23-yard line. They get tackled here with 11.5 left to go in the second quarter. Oh, that's cool. Vegas Vix has been to Capriotti's, where I actually had lunch at Patriot Place. That's awesome. Yeah, great restaurant. Let's see here. Brent saying can't wait to see Jimmy G tomorrow. Gonna look at the schedule right here. Yeah, 49ers get Broncos tomorrow. That one's on ESPN. I won't be having that stream tomorrow night, but that game's 8 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN. I believe that Jimmy G should be playing. He's been playing in training camp this whole week. I heard one of the days in training camp, it was like early on this week in training camp, he had that day that he threw like 5 straight interceptions or so in training camp, like early on this week, but then he redeemed himself throughout the remainder of the week. Everybody, I guess, was like joking about it too, how he threw those 5 picks early on this week in training camp. Tied up at 3 right now, that run going up the middle for a gain of 1 on the play. Brings up a 2nd and 9 here, ball at the 25-yard line of Minnesota. That pass, the ball gets tipped up into the air, incomplete. Right there by Minnesota, as they could not haul that one in. It'll bring up a 3rd and long for the Vikings. So Tyler Conkin, 2nd-year player from Central Michigan, the intended receiver, and the ball just was incomplete right there on the pass. So we got a new quarterback out there now for the Vikings. It's Sean Mannion, as that was his first incomplete pass of the game by Sean Mannion. He played for the Los Angeles Rams, actually St. Louis Rams when they were in St. Louis in 2015, then the LA Rams 2016-2018. Mannion in the shotgun, takes the snap, drops back, and fires, complete for a 1st down. Right there, gets enough for it, as that goes to Zelstra for the 1st down. Brandon Zelstra, Division III player out of Concordia Moorhead. He had over 1,000 receiving yards in the Canadian Football League, playing for the Edmonton Eskimos, now playing for the Minnesota Vikings, trying to make a name for himself on this roster with 10:20 left to go in the second quarter. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit this like button down below, hit the subscribe button, as well as I call football action on Final Yard Football on YouTube. This is only my 3rd ever stream here on YouTube on this football channel. Play action fake, Sean Mannion. Gonna go to the air, passes that one, a little check pass right there, and it looks like it appears to fall incomplete. Ball did hit the ground on the play. If it was caught, it would have been a 3-yard completion on the play. But according to the Seattle defense, before they cut to the Fox NFL booth, seemed like Seattle was rolling it incomplete. Actually, the refs are going to say it's a catch. So 2nd and 6 right there in the play. Thursday Night Football on Fox starting up September 26th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll start with a pregame, and I'll have those games for you guys with the Thursday night games on Fox throughout the season. 2nd and 6 right here. Ball at the 39-yard line. Big run. 45-50, 45-40, all the way to the 37-yard line of Seattle territory. Moving the chains right there is Alexander Madison with a big run up the gut. Moving it. Went up the middle, then cut towards the left. Right there by Alexander Madison. Great running back vision, seeing a whole field of green right in front of him. And a huge run on the play. Gain of 22 by Alexander Madison. So ball now at the 39-yard line for the Vikings here in Seahawks territory. 8:50 left to go in the second quarter, as under center in the ace formation is Sean Mannion. Takes 2 steps back, drops back to pass, completes it, as that is a catch going towards the left sideline. Gain of 8 on the play by, that is Chad Beebe, trying to go for the 3rd wide receiver possession on this team, behind Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen. Number 3 is up for grabs. Who can get it? That's what the Vikings need to find out in this preseason. Laquan Treadwell hasn't really developed at all, and possibly could be cut. He hasn't been seeing action so far in this game. He was a first-round draft pick back in 2016. Just hasn't really developed at all. Chad Beebe trying to take Laquan Treadwell's place now at number 3. 2nd and 3 here. Ball at the 34-yard line, and that handoff goes backwards for a loss on the play. On the left side carry, it went nowhere for Alexander Madison. Brings up around a 3rd and 4 here for the Vikings. So Vikings now 3rd and 3 coming up. Deebo Samuel on the 49ers, as well as Jalen Hurd. Looking forward to some 49ers offense fun with the young rookies in there. Yeah, I haven't seen the 49ers that much in action that the past season or so, because the West Coast games weren't on the East Coast games. Lots of conflicts with the 49ers and other teams, but that first down pass is complete by Mannion, going out to his tight end, Irv Smith Jr. right there at the left side of the sideline. Enough for a first down as he hauls in the pass. As Irv Smith, another young rookie from Alabama, 2nd round draft pick, picked up 50th overall in the draft, and grabs in the catch for a new set of downs here with 7 minutes left to go in the second quarter. Ball at the 21-yard line. As Irv Smith now in motion, going towards his left here, lines up in motion, and Mannion takes the snap, hands this one off up the middle to Madison, gains around 2 on the play, brings up a 2nd and 8. Yeah, I actually didn't see a lot of the 49ers this past season. A lot of conflicts between other games that I watched or so, but when they did play in the national spotlight, I did see them, the ridiculous game they took on the Chargers, like the ending of that game, because I think there was a game that I was watching last season that ended before that game, and they turned us over to bonus coverage between the 49ers and Chargers, and that was a really tight game. George Kittle went off in that game, just completely uncovered down the seams of the field throughout that game when I watched it. Drop it back to pass. Mannion throws it towards the end zone, and that one a little bit too high and out of bounds at the left corner of the end zone. Incomplete. Brings up a 3rd and 7 here. Sean Mannion took a couple steps back, dropped back to pass. Tried to throw the left corner fade towards the end zone to his wideout, Olabisi Johnson, just a little bit too far in front of him. Incomplete. It was close right there. He was covered by 2 Seattle defenders as well in that play. 3rd and 7, 6:02 left to go in the second quarter. Ball now at the 18-yard line of Seattle. Sean Mannion is the quarterback under center. He has the ball, or he's in the shotgun right now, running back towards his left. Mannion drops back to pass, feels the pressure, and it's intercepted right here by Seattle. Bad pass, and it's going to go all the way. 40, 45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20. Going all the way for the pick 6 right there by the Seahawks. Deshaun Shedd, the cornerback, 8th season back in Seattle, 2013 to 2017, and he gets the pick 6 right there as the pressure. Sean Mannion felt it, and he had to release the ball a whole lot quicker than what he expected, and the Seahawks took advantage of it. Deshaun Shedd cashing it all the way for the end zone right there with a pick 6. Let's see here on the replay. Sean Mannion going back to pass, and the pressure from both sides forces that pass a little bit. Oh, there was a bad read right there. The receiver just stopped in his route or something. The receiver for Minnesota, number 12, Chad Beebe, just completely stopped. If he had ran like 2 more yards upfield, he would have caught that ball completely. Instead, he stopped the ball. I don't think Beebe saw the ball right there, and it was a pick 6, 90-yard pick 6 by the Seattle Seahawks, and this kick goes up and in right there as Jason Myers converts the kick. 10-3, and that is how fast this game can change with a pick 6 right there by the Seahawks. Deshaun Shedd, the cornerback. Right place, right time. Ball thrown right to his chest to the wrong player by Sean Mannion. As the Seahawks cash it in with 5:48 left to go in the second quarter. As this is Final Yard Football on YouTube. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button as well as I call play-by-play of football action here on the channel. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me in here on Final Yard Football. So just like that, in a blink of an eye, this game can change in a flash, and it just did right there. Sean Mannion with a pass, feeling pressure from both defenders coming in from right and left sides on the pass rush for the Seahawks defense coming in, and then the wide receiver, Chad Beebe, trying to be the number 3 wide out for the season on opening day for the Minnesota Vikings, just stopped his route. Could have went 1 or 2 yards up the field and caught that ball. Instead, he stopped in his route, just completely confused where the ball was thrown to him. I don't even think he saw the ball as the ball went, it whizzed right past him into the hands of the defender, the cornerback. Right there, Deshaun Shedd for the Seattle Seahawks, who took it into the end zone on the pick 6. Hey, what's good, King Jacob? Thanks, man, for joining me back here. So we just had a pick 6, like not even a minute ago by the Seattle Seahawks in this game. Deshaun Shedd taking it into the end zone for an 88-yard pick 6 off of Sean Mannion, the quarterback. So right now we're on commercial break, so Minnesota will get the ball back with Seattle. This is what the numbers look like so far, as both of the starting lineups here are done for the game. Russell Wilson finished 6 for 9, 82 yards in the air in this one. Kirk Cousins on the other side for Minnesota. 6 for 8, 68 yards so far. The backup quarterback for Seattle hasn't even got a chance to play in this game so far because of the pick 6 by the Seahawks defense. So we're going to have another offensive drive coming up for the Vikings moments from now. But backup quarterbacks for Seattle haven't had their chance to shine so far. Look like this. Paxton Lynch, the number 2 quarterback on the roster behind Russell Wilson. Then Geno Smith, who had a bad showing in the first preseason game. Geno Smith, it seems like, he's been in the NFL forever. He's struggled, throwing so many interceptions, more than touchdown passes when he did play for the New York Jets 2013 to 2016. Played for the Giants in 2017 and played for the Chargers last year in 2018. So the Vikings will have another opportunity here with the ball as this ball gets kicked off here by the Seahawks, by Jason Myers, and it gets returned from the 1-yard line by the Vikings, taking up the seam, 25-30, takes it all the way to the 35. Right there's Jeff Budet as he takes it to the 35-yard line, and great position to start out for the Vikings here on their second drive of the game, coming up by Sean Mannion. Sean Mannion, 4 for 7 right now with an interception, not completely his fault though, as his wide receiver Chad Beebe just stopped running his route, and the ball just whizzed right by him. I don't even think he saw it coming, and it was intercepted right into the hands of a Seattle Seahawks defender, Deshaun Shedd, who took it home to the house for the pick 6. We'll see what happens here. This handoff up the middle and back to the line of scrimmage brings up a 2nd and 10 for the Vikings. So Alexander Madison tried to take that run up the gut. Rookie running back from Boise State, 3rd round pick. Pick 102 out of the NFL draft from this past year's draft in 2019, but no yards on the play. Brings up a 2nd and 10 here for the Vikings. Sean Mannion, ace formation, Madison in the backfield right now. As we're going to go play action here. Mannion, little screen pass, going backwards. Loss of 5 in the play as Seattle's defense felt that one all together right there. As they brought the house and they sniffed out that running back screen at the right side right there that went for no yards. 0 or less than no yards right there. Actually, it was a tight end screen on the play. Went backwards, loss of 5. Tyler Conklin, second-year player out of Central Michigan, was the intended tight end on the play. Caught the ball, but it was a big loss in the play. Brings up 3rd and 17. So actually even greater than that 5-yard loss. Became a 7-yard loss. Ball at the 28-yard line of Minnesota. Hand up, running back, draw up the middle. They're going to gain a couple of yards back, but not enough because they're going to have to punt this ball away. So around the gain of 4, brings up a 4th and 12. That means that the Vikings will have to punt this ball back to Seattle. So 4 minutes left to go before halftime right now. 10-3 to score. And there was just no offense whatsoever there as the Vikings went back. And they went backwards. So Corey Vedvik, first punt today was 38 yards only. He'll have his second opportunity here by Corey Vedvik, first-year player of the Marshall, to punt this ball. As this ball goes up into the air in this 4th and 12. It's skyrocketed here as the Seahawks will return this one from their own 15-yard line. They're going to take it to the 20. Takes it right side of the sideline. 25, 30, 35. Finding some green flag, though, on the play. Takes it past the 40, 45. Out of bounds around midfield. Right there in the punt return by David Moore, the wide receiver. 3rd-year wideout for the Seattle Seahawks. Got a lot of green there, but we do have a penalty flag, though, on the field. So we're going to check the flag. We haven't had a whole lot of penalties so far in this game, honestly. Okay, so that's a holding call right there. Cornerback Trey Flowers, number 37 for the Seattle Seahawks, the guilty party right there with the holding call. So that negates that huge run on the return that Seattle took the ball around past midfield or so. So they'll bring it back to start out this one. So right now, moving into another commercial break right now. 10-3 to score, and the Seahawks will have their first opportunity where their backup quarterback to start out this next drive. Paxton Lynch should be in there to start out the next drive for the Seahawks. So let's see right now what's going on so far in this game. Actually, so Seattle did return the ball past midfield, but they'll get the ball. I believe they'll start out around the 22-yard line. They'll pick up and start out this drive coming up for Seattle. So the ball will be placed at the 22-yard line when we do get back to action. Because of the penalty on Trey Flowers from Seattle, offensive holding, 10-yard penalty. And it appears that it was enforced at the Seattle 32-yard line. But these are what the numbers look like so far in this game, with a rushing attack by the number 1 running team in the NFL a year ago. Chris Carson finishes with 5 carries, 25 yards. Rashard Penny now into the game. He did have a carry, but it was a no gain on the play, so we'll see more carries coming up by Rashard Penny throughout this one. As far as Minnesota's running has gone in this game, 10 carries, 41 yards by Alexander Madison for the Minnesota Vikings. C.J. Ham, 2 carries up the middle for 8 yards. C.J. Ham is basically more of a goal line, 3rd and short, 4th and short type of running back for the Vikings team. We saw a little bit of him getting a couple carries here and there this past season. Same as Rock Thomas last season for the Vikings, but Rock Thomas not with the Vikings this upcoming season. Mike Boone as well got a couple of carries in there as running back this past season for the Vikings. So a little bit of running back experience in there. But Latavius Murray was basically the big running back last season besides Dalvin Cook, who isn't playing in this game. Dalvin Cook, the lead running back heading into the season for the Vikings. Latavius Murray got sent to New Orleans in the offseason, played for the New Orleans Saints today. So 1st and 10 here, ball at the 22-yard line as we have 3:35 left to go before halftime. So the Seahawks now with the ball, ace formation. They're going to hand it off up the middle to Rashard Penny, who gets slung down right there to the backfield. Loss of 1 on the play, brings up a 2nd and 11. Looked like Rashard Penny might have been able to get around that tackle, but no, Hercules Mataafa with a big wraparound tackle right there behind the neck to bring him down for a loss. Actually, it's a loss of 2 in the play, not a loss of 1, so it's a loss of 2. Brings up a 2nd and 12 here. Paxton Lynch into the game as quarterback for the Seahawks. 2nd and 12. Ball now at the 20-yard line of Seattle. 3 minutes left to go in the second quarter. Paxton Lynch in the shotgun. Rashard Penny to his left. Paxton Lynch takes the snap, drops back, feels the pressure, steps up, he's going to run for it. Pass, 5 yards pass, past the 30 now, picks up the first down, gets out of bounds. That is a good run right there. Gain of 14 on the play, picked up by Paxton Lynch. Paxton Lynch coming over from the Denver Broncos, pick number 26 in the 2016 NFL Draft, but he hasn't really been able to do anything in the NFL so far. And there was a penalty flag in the play, and Paxton Lynch did have a 14-yard rush. Going out of bounds on the play, but it will come back, as there was a holding call on that play by the Seahawks. So that will all come back, so it won't even count on that last play. Penalty by Seattle right there on the offensive tackle. On the play, Elijah Nikonza, the guilty party there. So backs him up all the way back to the Seattle 10. 2nd and 22 here on the 10-yard holding penalty. Watch out, Paxton Lynch almost stripped with the ball. Luckily for the Seahawks, he holds on to it. He gets sacked for a loss of 5. Minnesota bringing the pressure right there with number 95, Ifeanyi Odenigbo with a sack for a loss of 5. So Ifeanyi Odenigbo coming in right here. Let's see on the screen. On the right side of the screen, working on his tackle, gets right around. Ooh, that was dangerous. Could have swatted that ball behind Paxton Lynch's hands, but great job by Paxton Lynch to tuck it in and make sure that that was not a fumble. So it's another loss of 5. It's going to be 3rd and long here by the Seahawks. After that big sack by the Vikings, it'll be 3rd and 26 from the Seattle 6-yard line. Coming up as we have a timeout here on the field. 2-minute warning on the field right now as this is Final Yard Football on YouTube. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button as well as I call play-by-play here. Football action in the NFL on Final Yard Football on YouTube. So once again, Paxton Lynch in his NFL career, 4 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions. He was a first-round draft pick for the Denver Broncos. Back in 2016, he just hasn't really been able to do anything, though, in his first couple of seasons in the NFL for Paxton Lynch, going into his 3rd season now in the NFL. He also picked up Chad Kelly in the draft in 2017. He just didn't amount to anything in the NFL as well. He also got arrested last season, got kicked off the team. Also just not great for Denver Broncos with the quarterback carousel after Peyton Manning. Now they have Joe Flacco, and I don't think that that'll work either, honestly. They're going to be bottom of the AFC West. That's for sure for Denver Broncos this upcoming season. If they're lucky, they'll win 5 games if they're lucky. I see them going 4-12 most likely this upcoming season for Denver, because they're more of the defensive-minded team. They're not offensive-minded at all for Denver. They need something to go on to their offense, and they're just not offensive-minded at all. But right now, it's going to be 3rd and long, coming at 3rd and 26 at the Seattle 6 when we do get back to action here for the Seahawks on this possession, as it just keeps on going backwards and backwards for Paxton Lynch on this drive. Hasn't even attempted a pass so far. 1 sack for a loss of 4. There was also the holding penalty by Paxton Lynch that just didn't go anywhere. '21 fourth quarter comebacks shown by the graphic there by Russell Wilson. Most in the NFL, leads the NFL in fourth quarter comebacks. Interesting. So, yeah, Russell Wilson been in the NFL for 8 seasons now. Leads the NFL 21 fourth quarter comebacks. 2 minutes left to go in the second quarter before halftime. Wilson finishes 6 for 9, 82 yards in the air today. 3rd and 26. As we got a shotgun formation here for Paxton Lynch, as it is way long. Ball at the 6-yard line here. Paxton Lynch in the shotgun. 2 minutes left to go. 8 on this play clock right now. He takes the snap. He's going to just hand this one off to Rashard Penny. Gains around 3 on the play. Brings up a 4th down and 23 on the field as they're just going to punt it away from their own end zone. Timeout called on the field right now by the Vikings. They take their last timeout. They'll get the ball back here on the punt return. So Vikings are going to get this ball right back here when Seattle does punt it. 4th and 22 for the Seahawks. Nothing here besides a simple punt should be in a question for Michael Dixon. Unless they do that fake punt that they did against the Lions that they won the game on. They did a fake punt from their own end zone and gamble for it, but there's no way that you're going to pick up 22 on a fake punt. Gotta just punt this one away if you're Michael Dixon of the Seahawks. Going to punt from his own end zone. Punts this one away as the Vikings will return this one from their around the 37-yard line. Oh, big hit right there coming from the punt coverage team right there by the Seahawks out of nowhere. The punt return member, that is Usu Amadi, the rookie from Oregon, 4th round draft pick number 132 in the draft, coming out of nowhere in the punt coverage, speedy down the field, and an automatic boom right there and a big time hit as the Vikings were able to field the punt but not able to return it anywhere as the ball went into the returner's hands and boom, just got lit up not even a second later right there on the return. So the Vikings will take this ball over right now at their own 37-yard line with their final drive before halftime. 10-3 the score. We'll see if Minnesota can even this one up at halftime with 1:48 left to go in the second quarter. Ball at the 37 right now. As we're in shotgun formation for the Minnesota Vikings as they complete the pass right there, right side of the sideline. First pass complete of the game for Sean Mannion. Goes for about 5 yards on the play. Man, that was incredible coverage right there by number 28. Just reading when the ball would get to the punt returner. Olabisi Johnson was the punt returner, and boom. Grabs a hold of the ball, fields the ball by Johnson. Not even a second later. That's a split second later. What a big time hit. Read it out so well by Usu Amadi. And that's what you like about the kick coverage team here in the NFL. Seattle Seahawks right there with Pete Carroll has to be pleased about that. That pass complete for a short yards. Not enough, though, for a first down. Gain around 3 on the play. Brings up a 3rd and 2 here by Sean Mannion. Mannion in the shotgun. Takes the snap once again. Passes. Same exact pass. Right side. Down the sideline. And that pass is hauled in. Complete for a first down by Brandon Zylstra. Picks up enough right there for the first down. So a gain of 4 on the play right there by Brandon Zylstra. All 3 passes on this drive by Sean Mannion have all been short check down passes towards the right sideline here for like gains of 3, gains of 4 in the play. And yeah, looking at the replay, both of the feet were in. Last catch by Brandon Zylstra. 1st and 10, ball at the 49-yard line of the Vikings territory. 1:22 left to go on the clock. Shotgun formation here as Mannion takes the snap, drops back. He's going to pass down the middle field, complete 40, 35, 30. Breaks a tackle at the 30, 20, 15, 10, and gets out of bounds around the 5-yard line. Big time catch right there by the Vikings. Out of the backfield goes Mike Boone, the running back for the Minnesota Vikings. He found him in the middle of the field right there. Little wheel route going across to the middle of the field. Mike Boone breaking 1 tackle, getting around the second defender, using his speed, getting towards the right side, out of bounds right there with a big time play by Mike Boone. 45 yards on that pass by Sean Mannion, getting out of bounds towards the 5-yard line. So 45-yard pass, ball now at the 6-yard line and spotted. 1st and goal in Minnesota. 1:12 left to go on the clock. Mannion takes the pass, passes right side, complete to Zylstra. Gain of around 3 on the play. Ball will be spotted. 2nd and goal at the 3-yard line. So Sean Mannion in the offense getting some forward motion here with picking up the tempo right now and really getting together with a team chemistry. Finding some rhythm here in the offense with 1:08 left to go. Ball at the 3-yard line, 2nd and goal. Yes, it really was a nice run right there by Mike Boone. This carry going for around a loss of 1 on the play up the middle by Minnesota. Went nowhere. Brings up a 3rd and goal with 1:01 left to go on the clock. Great completion over the middle by Sean Mannion, but even greater upfield speed by Mike Boone on that 45-yard catch and run. He got like 40 yards after the catch. That was a very short pass up the middle for like 4 or 5 yards, and Mike Boone just took it. Avoided one tackler, broke a tackle, took it up the right side of the sideline, saw a lot of green out there, and took it all the way out of bounds around the 6-yard line. Great play by Mike Boone. So right now, we got a 3rd and goal coming up for the Vikings at the Seattle 3-yard line. 6 plays on this drive, 60 yards in only 41 seconds on this drive so far by the Vikings, putting this together really quick. So almost at halftime, got 1:07 left to go, but great drive put together here by the Vikings trying to tie this thing up at 10. Sean Mannion in the shotgun with a running back towards his right now. Mannion will take the snap, and Boone will be the running back, and Mannion takes the snap, pass down the middle of the field, touchdown to the tight end, Irv Smith Jr., rookie from Alabama, completes the catch right there in the middle of the field, all alone for the touchdown. The rookie 2nd-round draft pick number 50 out of the draft, and the Vikings are going to like this kid, and it's a 1-point game. 10-9 right now is the score, as Sean Mannion took the snap, passed down the complete middle of the field, blown coverage right there by the Seahawks, all alone, down the middle of the field, in the end zone, all alone by Irv Smith Jr. The haul in the pass, complete. So Dan Bailey tacking on the extra point. This one is through and up the middle of the uprights as we are tied up. 10 apiece right now. 10-10 so far in this game between both of these teams on Final Yard Football on YouTube. As we'll be moving on to a commercial break right now. Didn't take too long for the Vikings to put together that drive, but they did so. Great drive right there by Minnesota. Took only 1:05 on that drive. So right now, just looking towards some of the stats in this game. I'm going to look towards the receiving category here. Irv Smith Jr. making the most out of his opportunities so far in action today. 5 receptions, 28 yards, and a touchdown grab by Irv Smith Jr. So the Seahawks will get this ball back on this kick return coming up. When we do get back to action, Irv Smith Jr. just completely down the middle of the end zone, just all alone right there for the touchdown grab. A lot of blown coverage, miscommunication right there by the Seahawks. So 1:05 left to go as this kick gets kicked off by the Vikings, and Seattle will take a knee at the back of their end zone right there. So 1:05 left to go as Paxton Lynch comes onto the field once again for the Seahawks. So we'll see. We got the 1-minute drill here for Paxton Lynch. We'll see if he can put together a drive here, if he's just going to take a knee and take this clock down to halftime. We'll see what Paxton Lynch can do here with 1:05 left to go in the second quarter. So backup quarterback coming in from the Denver Broncos, Paxton Lynch, the 26 overall draft pick in the 2016 draft. 1st and 10 at the Seattle 25 right now for Paxton Lynch. Lynch in the shotgun, motioning that he's going to pass, takes the snap and drops back, completes the pass, and gain of around 9 on the play as that pass goes complete towards the left side of the sideline, completed to DJ Moore. Hurry up offense here. 50 seconds left to go in the second quarter as Paxton Lynch. We're going to see him in the hurry up offense right now. Ball spotted at the 33-yard line. Takes the snap. 2nd and 2 here for Lynch, and a flag on the play. That is a false start by Seattle. Going to back him up 5 more yards. Will be a 2nd and 7. So 5-yard penalty here by the false start. And Seattle with a guilty party right there on the false start for the Seahawks, and no timeouts left. It's also a 10-second runoff as well, so it was a 45-second clock, now down to 35 seconds because of the 10-second runoff. Brings up a 2nd and 7 with a 5-yard penalty. So now we're under a minute left, so you can do the 10-second runoff. So in the shotgun formation here, Rashard Penny to the left of the quarterback, Paxton Lynch. Lynch takes the snap and drops back, trying to avoid the pressure, and he does. Gets it out of the hands, but that pass way too high. into the backfield right there to Rashard Penny, just way over his head, out of bounds, incomplete. Brings up 3rd and 7 as the pressure got to Paxton Lynch, and Paxton Lynch just could not throw right there on the run, as that pass sailed over the head of Rashard Penny. Brings up a 3rd and 7. 3rd and 7 here for the Seahawks with 28 seconds left to go in the second quarter before halftime on Final Yard Football on YouTube. Ball placed at the 28-yard line here for Paxton Lynch. Paxton Lynch in the shotgun. Penny towards his left right now. Lynch takes the snap, drops back, screen pass to Penny towards the left side, and Penny gets tackled right there for a loss in the backfield, just going nowhere, and that will end the half. And so it brings up a 4th down as the defense was all over it once again by Jaron Kearse, 4th-year player, recorded 32 tackles this past season for the Minnesota Vikings. So that will be it right there for half number 1, as it is in the books, and we got ourselves a tie game at 10 apiece here between the Vikings and the Seahawks on Final Yard Football on YouTube. Thanks so much, guys, for joining me on here on the channel. And the Seahawks will receive the second half kickoff as well, so I'll keep that possession arrow for Seattle, as this is Final Yard Football on YouTube. So right now, we're at halftime. Just going to look towards the leading players so far in this game at halftime. Look towards the stats as well. And we'll see what else happened in the NFL with that one game between the Chargers and the Saints at halftime also. So Minnesota receiving, looking good by Irv Smith Jr. Caught the reception touchdown, completely open in the middle of the field. 5 receptions for 28 yards right now by Irv Smith Jr. If this was a fantasy league right now, he'd have 13 points at halftime. If it was a PPR league for points per reception, 5 points for all his receptions, 2 points for his receiving yards at 28 yards so far, making it 7 points, and then plus 6 for the touchdown grab, so 13 points for Irv Smith Jr. if this was a fantasy football game right now, if this was an actual NFL game. We're going to see what else is going on so far with the receiving core from Minnesota. 3 receptions by Brandon Zylstra, Division III player, played in the Canadian Football League, had over 1,500 yards receiving for the Edmonton Eskimos in the Canadian Football League a couple of years ago. Right now he has 3 receptions for 18 yards in this game. 3 receptions for 45 yards starting out this game was Adam Thielen, hauling in all his targets, including a long of 34 yards. And then after that, Mike Boone had that beautiful play. Pass down the middle of the field. Should have been like a 5-yard pass. Breaking the tackle. Turned into a 45-yard pass as he gained 40 yards about after the catch by Mike Boone, who had a great turn up the field. Set up Minnesota with a touchdown play a couple plays later to Irv Smith, open in the middle of the field. Yeah, I agree. Vegas Vicks. Patriots should have definitely drafted Irv Smith Jr. for sure. They in dire need of a tight end, and I cannot believe that they didn't address that in the draft, because when April rolled around, I thought for sure that the Patriots should have drafted a tight end for sure, and they just didn't even pick one, which was a huge surprise to all us Pats fans out there. But as far as the other touchdown that went in this game for Seattle, it was a pick 6 off of Sean Mannion. It was an 88-yard pick 6 by the Seahawks in this game. Deshaun Shedd taking it to the house in this game, but that's what's going on so far. And actually here, Minnesota with the running game. We're going to see what happened in the running game here. Alexander Madison, rookie from Boise State. He had 10 carries for 41 yards, leading the way in the carries. And the passing, Kirk Cousins looking sharp, 6 for 8, 68 yards to start out this game. Sean Mannion, 11 for 14, 88 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. The interception is not to be blamed on Sean Mannion. Sean Mannion did a great job with that pass. It was the wide receiver on that play who stopped in his route and didn't turn upfield on that play. Chad Beebe was the wide receiver. Should have took 2 or 3 more steps towards the ball, but instead the ball whizzed right past Chad Beebe, and instead it went into the opponent's hands in return for the touchdown by Deshaun Shedd for the Seahawks. As far as Seattle's receptions have gone in this game, Jerron Brown is the most receiving yards so far, long of 33, 52 receiving yards, 2 receptions for 52 yards by Jerron Brown in this game, 3 receptions by Tyler Lockett for 27 yards out. As far as the rushing has gone on in Seattle's game so far, rush heavy this past season in the NFL, but Seattle today, Chris Carson leading the rushing attack, 5 carries, 25 yards rushing. Russell Wilson starting out this game for the Seahawks, 2 carries on quarterback option plays for 9 yards, and Rashard Penny just hasn't been able to get any ground in this game. A lot of miscommunication up front and a great job by the Vikings defense up front to get to Rashard Penny in the backfield for a couple of losses on a few plays. 3 carries by Rashard Penny, only for 2 yards so far in this one at halftime. So let's look to see what other stuff's gone so far in this game. Not a whole lot of penalties have been called, unlike last night's game. Patriots got a whole lot of penalties charged with them against Tennessee, who also got a good amount of penalties called on their team as well, but not a bunch of penalties so far. Only 6 penalties for 80 yards by Seattle, but Minnesota playing some clean football in this game. 1 penalty for 15 yards by Minnesota so far. That was something that they struggled on in their first game against the Saints last week. They committed 13 penalties for 136 yards, but today, total opposite so far in this one. The big penalty by Seattle was the pass interference penalty. That was a huge pass interference penalty. I think it was like a 42-yard penalty or so that set up the field goal kick by Dan Bailey, and it was a 3-0 start by Minnesota to start out this game. But looking at some of the team statistics here, Vikings are actually outgaining Seattle in the total yard category by almost 100 yards so far. 212 yards total by the Vikings at halftime, 118 yards total by the Seahawks at halftime, and the passing yards have been the difference here. 156 yards in the air by the Vikings compared to 82 yards passing by the Seahawks. We're going to look towards some of the other stuff here right now. The turnover category, just 1 turnover. It was a pick 6. Sean Mannion threw the pick 6 to Deshaun Shedd. But looking towards the NFL today, as this was the game that went down. It happened to be Saints versus Chargers. Great finish to this game, led by Taysom Hill. Number 3 quarterback on the roster, but Taysom Hill can do anything. Bring him in for 4th down conversions. If you're the Saints, have him run the quarterback draw up the middle, push the pile for the 1st down. You can also have him run a read option plays in there for Taysom Hill with the speed. He's got his quarterback filling in once in a while for Drew Brees. Interesting take last season that Sean Payton integrated Taysom Hill into the lineup. That was really interesting to see what he did as a change of pace once in a while quarterback Taysom Hill did. But Taysom Hill also played on special teams this last season. He's so valued throughout this entire New Orleans Saints roster, and today he had a great game passing the ball. 11 for 15, 136 yards in the air, 2 touchdown passes, including a pass that led his team to victory in that game. But Taysom Hill also carrying the ball. He was great carrying the ball earlier today for the Saints. 5 rushes, 53 yards on the ground for Hill today as well with a comeback victory against the Chargers. What other stuff went on against the Chargers? Teddy Bridgewater is back for the Saints, but didn't have a great game for New Orleans today. 5 completions out of 12 attempts in an interception pass. Only had 40 yards in the air by Teddy Bridgewater. He was more of a game manager, quarterback or so. He's not really a big downfield threat or so by Teddy Bridgewater. Injuries have been the big struggle of his career. He did play with the Vikings formerly, but glad to see that Teddy Bridgewater is finally back on the field today for the New Orleans Saints as they took on the Chargers. So let's see here. DK Metcalf out with a sore leg as Vegas Vix is updating me with that. Thanks so much for the update here. So looks like DJ Metcalf out with a sore leg as that's an unfortunate blow for the Seahawks. Looks to be... Okay, so yeah, it was reported about 2 hours ago that he would be out for tonight's game. So taking a night off, not in uniform tonight. And now we got the, sore calf as we saw. But DJ Metcalf taken in the draft. Second round draft pick number 64 for the Seahawks. It's going to be interesting to see what DJ Metcalf can do for the Seattle Seahawks offense for wide receiver this season. Replacing Doug Baldwin, that's going to be huge to replace. Doug Baldwin didn't have the greatest season this past season. Two-time Pro Bowl wide receiver, though. His best seasons were in 2015, 2016 when he did make the Pro Bowl. Number 2 receiver this past season as injuries took the role and took a toll for Doug Baldwin this past season. But both of those seasons, 2015, 2016, Baldwin came out of nowhere and was a 1,000-yard receiver both of those years in the NFL. But I remember having him on my fantasy team, picked him up off of waivers a couple of years ago. I think that was like 2015 when he had that big Pro Bowl season for Doug Baldwin. But unfortunately, it was a very short NFL career that he spent in the NFL. So unfortunate how injuries can derail a player's career, especially with a talent level that Doug Baldwin had playing in the National Football League. But right now, we're at halftime, guys. Thanks so much for joining me on the channel, as this is Final Yard Football on YouTube. What I do on this channel is I call play-by-play of football action. And I also do basketball as well. It's called Behind the Arc Basketball. That's my basketball YouTube channel. I've been on YouTube on that channel for around 8 months now, so feel free to check that out as well. Behind the Arc Basketball on YouTube. So let's see here. What else happened in the National Football League this week in the preseason? Unfortunately for the Eagles, last week in week 1 of the preseason, Nate Sudfeld went down with a season-ending injury. But the Eagles did win 24-10 against the Jaguars on Thursday. That was the early games on Thursday here for the Philadelphia Eagles playing. New York Jets got a win on Thursday 22-10 with Sam Darnold once again taking a big step up as quarterback for his sophomore campaign here for the New York Jets as they beat the Falcons by 12 in their first game on Thursday. Bengals got a win against the Redskins 23-13. Ryan Finley 20 for 26 passing, 150 yards in the air, 2 touchdown passes for the Cincinnati Bengals. They won on Thursday. Baltimore Ravens won 26-13. Looks like Lamar Jackson was sharp as well once again in his second preseason debut game for the Baltimore Ravens. Arizona Cardinals were getting hammered early on against the Oakland Raiders, but close game later on in this one. 33-26 though as the Raiders won. Mike Glennon, only 14 attempts but completed 11 passes in that game with 2 touchdown passes against the Cardinals. Buffalo Bills winning against the Carolina Panthers 27-14. Matt Barkley looking sharp, 8 for 10, 110 yards and a touchdown pass for the Buffalo Bills. And New York Giants winning once again 32-13 on Thursday. Daniel Jones, or that's on Friday actually. Daniel Jones 11 for 14, 161 yards and a touchdown pass by the number 6 overall draft pick for the Giants. Buccaneers beat the Dolphins 16-14. Browns over the Colts yesterday in the 4 o'clock time slot, 21-18. Patriots getting the come-from-behind victory last night, 22-17 against the Tennessee Titans. Damon Patterson with a 21-yard reception touchdown at the bottom left corner of the end zone was the difference for the pull-away victory for the Patriots with the come-from-behind victory to pull ahead with that touchdown catch by Patterson. Steelers beat the Chiefs yesterday. That game was delayed for quite a bit, but did get back to action after an hour. So Steelers beat the Chiefs 17-7. Texans beat the Lions 30-23. Cowboys over the Rams 14-10 yesterday, and we have one game left tomorrow. 49ers against Broncos. And the next game that I'll stream, I'll be back on Thursday night. By the way, Patriots, once again, Patriots take on Carolina Thursday night. I'll have that game for you guys. I'll also have the game on Friday since it's on CBS. Buffalo Bills will take on the Detroit Lions, I believe. Yes, Detroit Lions in that game. That'll be Week 3 action. CBS on Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And then it's Tennessee. They'll take on Pittsburgh. And I'll have that game for you guys as well. That'll be next Sunday, Same exact time as this one, 8 p.m. Eastern time start time. So we're ready for the third quarter right now. Final Yard Football on YouTube as the Seahawks will return this kick and they'll take it not even to the 20-yard line. They get tackled around the 17-yard line to start out the third quarter. So we're tied up at 10 right now. So all these players right now just playing for jobs on the roster for both of these teams in this game. As we got basically all second backup players, third string players into the game right now. We're going to see who's quarterback here for the Seattle Seahawks. They most likely will take this by quarter. We should be seeing Geno Smith now as quarterback. So, looks to be a Paxton Lynch for one more series. So, Paxton Lynch here, 1st and 10, ball at the 18-yard line to start. 4-3 defense by the Vikings coming in up front, and another loss by Rashard Penny. Now he's having negative yards on the day on his carries. Coming a big burst of speed up the middle right there by the Vikings defense, coming out of nowhere, uncovered up the middle, and just tackles Rashard Penny once he gets the snap on the ball, and a big loss on the play. So Rashard Penny with a big loss right there. -4 rushing yards on a 4 rushing carries so far in the game. That's a 6-yard loss by Rashard Penny, but nothing wrong with Penny right there. It's the Seattle blocking. 2nd and 16. Ball now at the 12-yard line. And they're going to run it again by Penny, and this time he's lucky if he gets 1 on the play. Brings up a 3rd and 15. So not Rashard Penny's fault at all. This is the Seattle Seahawks offensive line that's giving their running back fits right now. All types of problems in this game with the blocking by the Seahawks. Not a whole lot of blocking up front. So Rashard Penny, 5 rushes, tallying -3 rushing yards so far in this game. But not his problem. It's the offensive line that hasn't given him a whole lot of holes so far. Shotgun formation, going out empty, 5 wide. But the Seahawks taking the snap and passes left side screen over to Penny. Penny's going to get it though. 20, passes the 25 and just a little bit short of the first down marker. Gained around 12 or 13 on the play. Needed 14 for the first down marker. Got 13 out of the left side wide receiver screen set up as Rashard Penny went out wide towards his left, caught the ball and gained 13 on the play. So Seattle will punt this ball away back to Minnesota here on the 4th and 1. So 4th and 1 on the field. And the Vikings will be back to return this ball. So back to return the ball again. Olabisi Johnson got cracked on the last time once he got the ball. And he returns it around the 15-yard line. Takes it to the 20. And he gets tackled around the 24-yard line. Bounced off a defender there around the 21. Took it around 3 more yards upfield. So we're going to take a TV timeout here on the field, moving into commercial break. 12:50 left to go in the third quarters. This is Final Yard Football on YouTube. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that like button. Down below, hit that subscribe button as well as I call play-by-play of football action. Next stream, Patriots versus Carolina. We'll see the starters in action. Tom Brady, Stephon Gilmore, James White, Sony Michel. They should all be in action for the Patriots, same as the McCourty brothers. On Thursday's game, the quick turnaround for the Patriots, and they'll play on Thursday as they played last night on Saturday night against Tennessee. As far as Carolina goes, we should be seeing their starters in action as well. Cam Newton, Christian McCaffrey should be in action as well for Carolina on that game on Thursday. But right now, that possession for Seattle just did not start out well at all. It was going backwards for Rashard Penny. Going into halftime, he had, I believe he had 4 yards rushing at halftime. Now he has -3. His least amount of yards was -4. He did get back a yard, though. But now at -3 on 5 carries for Rashard Penny. Not his fault, though. It's the Vikings offensive line that has had a whole lot of trouble blocking up front. Not blocking defenders when Minnesota's been able to read the plays and just storm up the middle and tackle Penny for a loss. So right now we are at commercial break, and we should be getting ready to go back to action here momentarily right after these commercials finish in. So Vikings will get the ball when we do get back to action here in Final Yard Football. They'll take over at their own 25-yard line. When we do get back to action. That was a 59-yard punt by Michael Dixon of Seattle. He's been a pretty good bright spot this past season. Young punter for the Seahawks. And he can show you what the punt fake run could be as well. He did that against the Lions like late in the game against Detroit to seal the deal. It was like under 2 minutes left to go, as they could have been punting from their own end zone. But Pete Carroll getting risky when they played Detroit last season, as they went with a punt fake run when Michael Dixon, they converted it for a whole new set of downs and won the game on that. They just had to down the clock after that and won it. But here we are, back to action, 1st and 10, ball at the 25-yard line. Vikings have it, ace formation here. For Minnesota, as we got a new quarterback into the game, pass it right side, and they're going to get around 7 yards on the play as that pass complete right side out of bounds by Jeff Badette. On the catch right there is Kyle Sloter is into the game right now for the Minnesota Vikings. 3rd-year quarterback. In his first game for Minnesota last week, he went 6 for 7, 62 yards in the touchdown pass by Kyle Sloter. 2nd and 3, ball now at the 32-yard line of the Vikings. Ace formation once again for Kyle Sloter. As we have Kari Blossom game fullback now, moving from as the left side of the screen now in the backfield for the Vikings. 2nd and 3 here. 12-10 left to go in the third, as that is a running play handoff up the middle. It appears that Mike Boone will be just short of the first down. He tried to stretch it out. It appeared that his knee is just a tad short. Brings up a 3rd and 1 here for the Vikings. So 3rd and 1 right now. Ball at the Minnesota 34-yard line with 11:40 left to go in the third quarter. Vikings with the ball, ace formation. Right now, Mike Boone into the backfield. For the Vikings, they're going to go quarterback sneak. They're going to get it. First down is enough by Kyle Sloter, moving the chains right there in the QB sneak. As they needed one, they got one, and they got it enough right there for the whole new set of downs with 11:20 left to go in this third quarter. Looking at the plays out of the shotgun formation, first 13 games, Minnesota 64% from the shotgun formation. Last 3 games of the season, only 42%. They passed the ball from the shotgun formation. They're now in the ace formation for this one lined up. They're at the 36-yard line for Kyle Sloter, and he'll go play action here. Sloter back to pass, and that pass off the top of the fingertips right there of his fullback, Kari Blossom game, incomplete. That was a dangerous pass. Could have been picked off on that bobble right there up top. But no defender in the area. There were 2 defenders a little bit close by, but not close enough to Blossom game. Pass fell incomplete. Brings up a 2nd and 10 right now. Ball now placed at the 36-yard line, Minnesota territory. Vikings with the ball. Ace formation here for Kyle Sloter. Kyle Sloter will take the snap, running back toss towards the right into the hands on Mike Boone. Misdirection here, running for a gain of 4, takes it to the 40-yard line by Mike Boone. So little running back HB toss right there, right side, misdirection, cuts back up towards the middle, takes it for now a gain of 5 on the play, brings up a 3rd and 5. Ball placed around the 41-yard line, 3rd and 5 for the Vikings. 10.5 left to go in this third quarter. As Minnesota in the ace formation once again, shotgun as they went to the ace, back to the shotgun, takes the snap as they pass that ball, and it is broken up, incomplete. Almost a chance to intercept that one towards the left side of the sideline. That pass was aired out. Nico Thorpe almost had a diving interception, the Seattle Seahawks defender, but couldn't grab a hold of it as that ball was intended right there at the left side towards Jordan Taylor. Played for the Denver Broncos in 2016 and 2017. Luckily for the Vikings, it was incomplete. Brings up a 4th and 5. So the Vikings will punt this ball away back to Seattle here. And they will punt this ball back. This ball gets returned by Seattle at the 15-yard line. Takes it to the 20, to the 25, and they're going to get out of bounds around the 27-yard line here for the Seahawks. So the Seahawks will take over after that punt return right there by Seattle. Thanks so much for joining me on the channel as I call play-by-play of football action. This channel name is called Final Yard Football on YouTube. Tied up at 10 right now in the third quarter between both of these teams. So Kyle Slow, their first drive of the game, 1 for 3, 7 yards passing on the first drive of the game so far. Last pass, he was trying to air it out down the field, just a little bit too much air time on that one, and almost an interception as the Seattle Seahawks defender jumped the route, tried to dive for it, but couldn't grab a hold of it as the ball hit the turf first. It was forced down there. Mike Boone hasn't had the greatest game rushing either. He had that big reception for 45 yards, but running-wise, 4 carries for 9 yards so far by Mike Boone in this game. Rashard Penny struggled for the Seahawks as well. And there are 5 carries for -3 yards. First-round draft pick by Rashard Penny back in 2018. So right now we're on a commercial break as this is Final Yard Football on YouTube. What I do on the channel is I call play-by-play of football action here. Thanks so much everybody for joining me as my next stream will be the Patriots versus the Carolina Panthers. I'll have that game for you guys. That'll be on Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll also have the game on Friday. Buffalo Bills will take on the Detroit Lions. That game will be on CBS. I'll have that game for you guys as well. And then on Sunday night, NBC, the Pittsburgh Steelers take on the Tennessee Titans. I'll have that game also. So right now on commercial break, just getting ready to go back to action here. Seattle will get the ball back with their 1st and 10. The ball will be placed at the 28-yard line when we do get back to action. We'll see if Paxton Lynch is back there for another drive in this game or if they've moved on to Geno Smith. Looks like Paxton Lynch will be the number 2 quarterback behind Russell Wilson on the chart here going opening day. Geno Smith will fall back to number 3. Looks like JT Barrett will be number 4 as he played college football at Ohio State. So Paxton Lynch, number 2, is still in the game as he's in the shotgun formation, rolling out to his right, and he's going to pass it downfield, and that pass is short, incomplete, as he was looking to pass that ball for around 23 yards or so down the field, just a little bit short of his wide receiver right there. Incomplete it falls, as it was a good diving attempt, just 2 or 3 yards short of him. Incomplete. So brings up a 2nd and 10, ball at the 28-yard line. So Paxton Lynch, still the quarterback on this drive. 28-yard line. Takes this ball, drops back, and Paxton Lynch going to air this one out towards the left side of the sideline, and that pass incomplete, but there's a flag on the play. It was intended for Terry Wright, rookie wide receiver from Purdue. Try to go out for the left-handed catch because his right arm was being interfered with, and Minnesota will get that defensive pass interference. They'll be charged with on the play number 24, Holton Hill, 2nd-year player out of Texas, with a defensive pass interference penalty on the play. So a whole new set of downs for the Seahawks right there. And that is another penalty by the Vikings on pass interference in this game. Actually, Seattle had the first pass interference call. That's the first penalty, I believe, for pass interference by the Vikings in this game because Seattle picked up the first one early on. Good field position now for the Seahawks. Paxton Lynch in the shotgun, running back towards the left is Penny. Play action here, and that pass is well short of his intended receiver, because that is incomplete. It was well short, down at the very bottom of the fingertips. Couldn't be hauled in right there, as it was incomplete. Intended for Keenan Reynolds, 1st-year player out of Navy. So 2nd and 10 with now 9:45 left to go in this third quarter. Ball at the Minnesota 35-yard line as Paxton Lynch in the shotgun. Rashard Penny behind him as running back, and he's going to hand it off to Penny. Running back carry up the middle. Looks like somebody's shoe just flung right off there as Rashard Penny couldn't get anything out of that one. No gain on the play. Brings up a 3rd and 10. Rashard Penny, rough time carrying the ball in this game. 6 carries for -2 yards so far by the draft pick from 2018. Rashard Penny went number 27 overall in the first round. So 3rd and 9 coming up here. Ball at the 34-yard line for the Seahawks in the Minnesota 34-yard line. And the shotgun formation once again is Paxton Lynch. Back to pass. Passes down the field, and that pass overthrown by 3 yards over the intended receiver's head. Terry Wright could have had him for a touchdown in stride. He had a step on his defender too, but Paxton Lynch overthrows his receiver by 3 yards. Incomplete pass brings up a 4th and 9. So this is going to be a difficult field goal right here. You're looking at 50 plus. As the field goal team comes on for the Seattle Seahawks right now. So going on for the field goal will be Jason Myers. But if there's somebody who can kick a field goal from 50 plus, it is Jason Myers. Last season for the Jets, 6 for 7 from 50 plus. This kick in a dome, it is up and it is through. That is pitch perfect right there. Even through the uprights by Jason Myers. It's 13-10. 52-yard field goal up and good by Jason Myers, and the Seahawks take back the lead right now. 13-10 with 8:58 left to go in the third quarter. This is Final Yard Football on YouTube, calling play-by-play of football games throughout the season. So is that big pass interference penalty on that drive that led to the 3 points on the field goal. Minnesota with a pass interference. Going down the field, there was a couple plays there that Paxton Lynch targeted Terry Wright. The first one was the pass interference call as Terry Wright, the rookie from Purdue, tried to grab the ball with his left hand. His right hand was being held onto, and the pass interference call was charged on the play for the Minnesota Vikings defense. On the play was charged to Holton Hill, the cornerback, number 24, second-year player out of Texas. And then Paxton Lynch went to the air once again, airing it out towards the end zone, right corner, bottom right corner, towards the goal line and the end zone on what brought up the 4th down drive. It was to number 9, again, Terry Wright. But that pass, he overthrew him around 3 yards or so, incomplete pass, and that's where it led to the field goal. So 3 points more on the board for Seattle, 13-10. As right now we are on commercial break. Looking at some of the matchups here in preseason for week 3. This is what we got. Thursday night games. We do have a game on CBS, by the way, or a game on Fox actually on Thursday night. The CBS game's on Friday. I'll be streaming the Friday game on CBS. We do have another game on Fox though. Jaguars Dolphins. I won't be doing that game. That's at Hard Rock Stadium, home of the Miami Dolphins, 8 p.m. Eastern times, that game. I'll be doing the Patriots game since it's in the local area here, covering all the Patriots games throughout the season. Pats versus Panthers, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Should get a pretty good crowd for that stream, hopefully. Last Thursday, got a really good crowd of 30-plus watching on that channel. And, of course, people will be excited to see Tom Brady first time playing this season for the Patriots. 42 years old, so can't wait to see him in action there. I'll be doing that game, the Buffalo Bills game on CBS on Friday. When they take on the Lions, I'll be doing that one. And then the Sunday night football game a week from today, 8 p.m. Eastern time. The Steelers take on Tennessee. I'll also be doing that stream as well. So we're going to change the possession arrow here as the field goal is good by the Seahawks, and the Vikings will get the ball back. Tom Terrific for sure. Yes, indeed. Tom Terrific. TB12, the greatest of all time, as the Vikings will return this ball 2 yards from their end zone as they take it past the 15 to the 20. Breaking tackles. Nice spin move right there in the return past the 25 and down at the 27-yard line on that return. Right there by number 17, Dylan Mitchell, rookie from Oregon. He was picked up in the 7th round of the NFL draft. 7th round draft pick number 239 from the NFL draft. Last season, with teams with 500 records or better, that's where the Vikings really struggled with a 1-6 record. That's why they didn't make the playoffs. 8-7-1 last season with their record, as they just barely missed the playoffs. The last game of the season, they lost in a do-or-die, win it or lose it moment, and they lost it to the Chicago Bears 24-10 in Week 17. A little screen pass picked up and complete for a big gain right there on the play by the Vikings. That is a big screen pass that goes for a big chunk of yards right there, already getting that ball past midfield about. So ball almost past midfield right now. Curry Blossomgame hauls it in for 20 yards at the Minnesota 47-yard line off the patch by Kyle Sloter. 1st and 10, once again, Sloter hands this ball up, and it goes up the seams right there, up the middle for around a gain of 2 on the play. Mike Boone carries it for 2 yards, brings up a 2nd and 8 here. Ball will be placed at the Minnesota 49-yard line with 8 minutes left to go in this 3rd quarter. So 1 more yard, and they're at midfield for the Vikings. 2nd and 8. Ball at the Minnesota 49-yard line. Under center right now, Kyle Sloter, the quarterback, as he will hand it off up towards the left side of Mike Boone, trying to push the pile, and they do get some decent yardage out of it, as they are a couple of yards short to the 1st down. Gain of 5 will bring up a 3rd and 3 as they're past midfield. Oh, they're at the Seattle 45 right now, so that's where they are. So 2 more yards in the 1st down. Actually, it'd be a 3rd and 2. Seattle last season, they weren't even expected to make the playoffs, and they did, as they made the playoffs, and they won their 1st game in the wild card. Or no, they lost the wild card, actually, 24-22. It was Dallas who actually surprised people and won that wild card game against Seattle. Back to pass, Sloter, complete, 1st down, as they get it to around the 40-yard line right there on the catch by Laquan Treadwell. Where have you been today, Laquan Treadwell? Finally, he hauls in the ball by number 11 in this game. Laquan Treadwell just falling down the charts, and it looks like he's in jeopardy for this squad, but that catch will help him out just a little bit towards getting there, but he might get cut at the end of this preseason, as Laquan Treadwell just hasn't amounted to anything on the roster here from Minnesota when he was picked up back in 2016. 1st round draft pick, by the way. 6:20 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Kyle Sloter, ace formation under center. Right now, Mike Boone, the running back behind him, drops back to pass, takes the snap. Sloter down the middle of the field, complete, 1st down. Hauled in by Brandon Zylstra. Right there, down the middle of the field for a round of gain of around 13, 14 on the play. Hauled in right there by Zylstra, picks it up for a 1st down. That was a great throw down the middle of the field. Nice dart by Sloter right there for another 1st and 10. Brandon Zylstra really proving his case to make the roster. 4 catches, 33 yards. This player, Brandon Zylstra, was a Division III player he played his college football at. It's so rare for a D3 player to make the NFL, and Brandon Zylstra is really proving the case right now. 1st and 10 for the Vikings. They are down by 3. 5:41 left to go in the 3rd quarter. There's a timeout taken by Pete Carroll and the Seahawks here on the field. So 1st timeout of the half taken by Seattle. The ball placed at the Seattle 25-yard line. So right now, Minnesota trying to get the ball down the field once again and strike to make this either a tie game or pull ahead out with a touchdown if they could here. They're 25 yards from the end zone. 1st and 10 at the Seattle 25 for the Vikings right now. So 1st and 10, that's a handoff up the middle here to Mike Boone, and he's going to churn the wheels. They'll gain around 1 on the play, as they'll bring up a 2nd and 9 here with the ball at the 24-yard line in Seattle territory. Under 5.5 left to go in this 3rd quarter. As the Vikings have the ball, Kyle Sloter looking fairly well in this drive. Right now for Kyle Sloter in this game. Kyle Sloter passing the ball 4 for 6, 47 yards so far. As he's under center, ace formation right now. He's got a wide receiver out towards his right, another one towards his left. Kyle Sloter here going with a play action, rolling towards his left, and Sloter is going to tuck it in. He's going to keep it. I'll gain up 3 on the play right there. Moving out of bounds will be a 3rd and 6 here on the field with the ball placed at the Seattle 20-yard line. So Kyle Sloter saw nothing downfield, tucked it in, and ran out of bounds for a gain of 3 on the play. So Slaughter now in the shotgun. The running back, Mike Boone, goes out to be a receiver at the left side here as they go empty. Slaughter drops back to pass. That pass complete. Hauled in at the stick. Should be enough for a first down. Right there by number 87, Cole Hicatini into the game. And gets his first catch of the game for the Minnesota Vikings offense. The tight end, second-year tight end from the Louisville Cardinals. 4 minutes left to go in the third quarter right now. 1st and 10 once again as that pass was complete at the Seattle 14. Kyle Slaughter keeping this drive going. 5 for 7, 52 yards in this game so far. Passing by Kyle Slaughter, the quarterback now for the Minnesota Vikings. He's under center, ace formation. And he'll hand this one off. Jet sweep right side. Try to get the edge in. Oh, nice tackle right there from behind to prevent that from a first down. But it's a gain of 9 on the play on the wide receiver. Jet sweep to the right by Jeff Badette. Jeff Badette moving from the left side of the screen towards the right. And he picks up 9 yards on the play. Nice tackle, though, by Thomas, number 34. Simeon Thomas, first-year player from Louisiana Lafayette. But these Minnesota Vikings fans wanted that to be a horse collar tackle. Looked indeed as sure that could have been a horse collar tackle right there. Just wrap around his neck he went. That's a violent tackle right there. 2nd and 1. Ball at the 5-yard line for Minnesota. Moving into motion is Zylstra here. And we got a stoppage in time. Zimmer's going to have to call a timeout as that play clock was down to double zeros. No timeout, actually. I thought that Zimmer got the timeout, actually, is a delay of game. So, late flag here, delay of game, the refs are going to say. So, it's a 5-yard penalty. That is a bummer for Minnesota. When they were at the 5-yard line, backs them up to the 10. That appeared to be a horse collar tackle, too, and the refs did not put it as a flag. Also, that's a questionable play. Looking at that replay right there by Simeon Thomas. Minnesota with the ball. They're going to hand it off the middle. Mike Boone gets some green right there and some daylight. And that is a carry, a gain of 4 on the play. Brings it back to the 5-yard line once again. Brings up a 2nd and 5 here for the Vikings with Mike Boone. He saw the middle right there, up the middle. Gained 5 on the play. 13-10 the score. We're under 3 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Mike Boone, 8 carries, 23 yards so far. Under center. Once again, Kyle Slaughter gets the snap. Going to go play action here. Rolling out towards his left. Pass into the end zone. Touchdown. There's a flag, though, on this play complete. As it was hauled in by Brandon Zylstra. We're going to see what the flag's about here. If this stands, it will be a 5-yard touchdown pass on the play by Kyle Slaughter to Brandon Zylstra, the Division III player from Concordia Moorhead. And this play will stand. Touchdown by the Vikings. Illegal hands to the face by the defense by the Seahawks. And 6 points on the board here for the Vikings. So they retake the lead right back. Let's see the play right here. Rolling out towards his left in the play action fake. As that pass, just Brandon Zylstra had a step or two right on the defender. And the play action fake worked as a beauty right there by Kyle Slaughter on the touchdown pass. So touchdown pass as the Vikings come back right at it. Brandon Zylstra, what a story. Division III all the way to the NFL. He played football on the professional level in Canada for a season. Played in the CFL with the Edmonton Eskimos. 16-13 right now with 2:29 left to go in the third quarter. We got an extra point coming up. As this extra point will not be kicked by Dan Bailey. It's actually the kicker that they acquired this Monday, and that kick is up and good through the uprights. Corey Vedvik with a kick that he kicks the extra point. It's up and good. 17-13 right now the score in Final Yard Football on YouTube. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me on here on the channel tonight. Great game with both of these teams. Back and forth football action for sure. Seattle will return this kick when we do get back to action here. Looking at some of the stats, but Kyle Slaughter doing a really well job in this game. He did a pretty spectacular job in that first game as well. For Kyle Slaughter, 6 for 7, 62 yards in the first game last week against the Saints and a touchdown pass finally finds a touchdown pass in this one as well. 6 for 8, 56 yards, and a TD pass to Brandon Zylstra, as he had a step or two on his defender, moving towards the left side of the end zone, in the back of the end zone, and he grabbed the ball in there for the touchdown. So these are the numbers in this game for Minnesota's passing. Kirk Cousins finished 6 for 8, 68 yards. Sean Mannion 11 for 14, 88 yards. Had a touchdown, had an interception. Not his fault though on the interception, as his receiver ran the route. It was a pick six play, by the way. Kyle Sloter looking really well in this game. QB rating of 133.3 right now for Kyle Sloter. 6 for 8, 56 yards in the air and a touchdown pass. As far as the rushing game is gone, Seattle's rushing just has been non-existent today. 32 yards total as a team today for rushing on the ground game by Seattle. 5 carries, 25 yards by Chris Carson, and then the other 7 yards have been by these players. Russell Wilson, 2 carries, 9 yards. Rashard Penny going backwards. 6 rushing attempts for -2 yards in this game by Seattle. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button as well. Right now, we're on commercial break. Seattle will return this kickoff from Minnesota when we do get back to action here. When we do get back to action, we'll have 2.5 minutes left to go in the third quarter, as Minnesota just took the lead a couple moments ago. It was a touchdown pass thrown on the field from 5 yards out by the backup quarterback Kyle Sloter to Brandon Zylstra. From Division III football now to the NFL, trying to make his spot on the roster for the Vikings. So kickoff coming up here for the Minnesota Vikings with 2.5 left to go in the third quarter. So here we are, getting ready for this kickoff right now by the Vikings, and the Seahawks will be back to return it as Corey Vedvik to kick this one off with 2.5 left to go. As this kick goes from a yard deep in the end zone, it does get muffed, but he does come down with it at the 20, 30, and he does lose his footing around the 33-yard line right there. And the kick returner was Terry Wright. Great recovery after he muffed it in the end zone, but Terry Wright does return it for 33 yards or so. So Terry Wright on the last drive for the Seahawks, he was the intended receiver 2 times in a row. One of them was a pass interference call. The other one was a pass just overthrown in the corner towards the end zone by Paxton Lynch. So Paxton Lynch still in the game right now. Geno Smith not in. Most likely see him in the fourth quarter if he does play. This is a running back HB toss, a left side here to the running back for the Seahawks, and they gain a pretty good chunk there out of bounds, and they get to around the 43-yard line right there as they pass the 40. So Travis Horner, rookie running back into the game from Miami, 6th round draft pick number 204 into the draft. He's into the game right now. So he just gained around 9 yards in the play. It'll be a 2nd and 1 here for the Seahawks, as they're going to hand it up the middle here, as that is back to the line of scrimmage. I'm not sure if he got enough for the first down. It was close for Travis Homer. Flag though on the play. We're going to see what this flag's about as we check it. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness by the defense by Minnesota. So first down either way, even if he was stopped short by the Seahawks. So it'll be enough for the first down. Contrell Brothers, the guilty party there of the personal foul. Unnecessary roughness after the play even finished, throwing down Homer to the ground along with another Minnesota Viking teammate. 1st and 10, 1:40 left to go in the third quarter right now as the Seahawks have the ball. The ball spotted at the 44-yard line as they'll go play action. Paxton Lynch dropping back and sees nothing there, rolling out towards his right. Does pass it this time, just throws it out of bounds. Nobody home, nobody there. 1:27 left to go on the clock here in the third quarter. Brings up a 2nd and 10 after the incomplete pass by Paxton Lynch. Paxton Lynch's stats haven't looked so promising so far in this game. He took a sack, 3 for 7, now 3 for 8 after that incompletion. Only 18 yards in the air. So if you're a quarterback if you do fantasy football, that's not even a fantasy point right there. If you have Paxton Lynch on your fantasy team, don't pick him up, by the way. He won't be seeing playing time for sure. It's all Russell Wilson. as Paxton Lynch will hand this one off on a running back sweep to Homer. Gains around 2 or 3 in the play and brings up a 3rd down. So the ball placed around the Minnesota 47-yard line. 3rd and 7 coming up here after that 3-yard run or so by Travis Homer. There is another flag, though, on the play. We're going to check the flag. And that's a holding call by Seattle, so even with a 3-yard run, they go back 10 yards. Minnesota will say replay the down. They'll back them up 10 yards, 2nd and 10. In the ace formation here, Paxton Lynch under center. Homer, the running back, and into the motion here. Zylstra, or that's not number 15. Zylstra's 15 for the Vikings. That's John Ursua, who takes the jet sweep for a couple of yards right there for the Seahawks, and he'll be around a 3rd and 16 or so by John Ursua, the rookie. 5'10" from the College of Hawaii. They got him in the 2nd or 7th round draft pick. So 3rd and long here coming for the Seahawks from the Minnesota 43-yard line. Yeah, college football just seems like it starts quicker and quicker and quicker. Starting up August 24th now. The big hype for college football, as Vegas Vix is pointing out. 20 seconds left to go in this 3rd quarter. 17-13 the score. Back to pass. Paxton Lynch down the middle of the field. Wow, complete, but it's fumbled. Fumbled and recovered by Minnesota, and another fumble on the play. 2 fumbles on the play. This time it's recovered by Seattle. Minnesota had a fumble recovery. Then they got up and tried to return it. They should have just laid on the football, and Seattle ends up with the football. So 2 fumbles on the same play right there. A comedy of errors. That ball gets ripped from the hands of the wide receiver, or tight end right there for the Seattle Seahawks. Recovered by Minnesota. Minnesota then gets up with it. They get tackled from behind. Seattle forces the fumble. Seattle gets great field position out of it right there. Oh, man, comedy of errors on that last play. I don't even know who gets charged with the reception right there. 2 fumbles in 1 play. Don't see that often. So that'll make the highlight reel, as Seattle will get the ball right back. 17-13, still the scores. We just ended the 3rd quarter, as this is Final Yard Football on YouTube. So we will start the 4th quarter momentarily here on the channel. So yeah, don't see that often. 2 fumbles on 1 play. But yeah, college football coming up so fast. Just going to look towards what that schedule will be for college football for the schedule that starts up on the 24th of August. You got a really good game to kick it off. 7 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. It's Miami against Florida to kick off the college football season on Saturday at 7 p.m. to kick off the season. Then Arizona against Hawaii. That one's on ESPN Sports Network. That's a very late game, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, you're going to see those late games throughout the season that go on like ESPN2 or so, like Fresno State going up against Boise State. 11:30 kickoff time on the East Coast, something crazy like that. The late game on the opening, well, the very first official day of college football, where a bunch of teams play on Saturday, August 31st. The very late game, that game day, is Fresno State against USC. That game's on ESPN. That's at 10:30 at night. Just looking at all the games here that will go on throughout the college football season. Let's look at week 1 here. The game's on ABC. Memphis against Ole Miss. The noontime game on ABC. On Fox, Ohio State plays against Florida Atlantic. Week 1 doesn't have as great as matchups or so, with the power conference teams going up against teams that aren't really in the power conferences, like Florida Atlantic or so, but I guess they'll schedule them in on Fox. And then there's the 3:30 game on ABC. Alabama against Duke. Fox has Northwestern against Stanford. We're back to action here. And that carry goes for a couple yards up the middle. by Seattle. That's Xavier Turner into the game. He played college football at Division II, Tarleton State. The rookie, Xavier Turner. But the big game here, AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas, Oregon taking on Auburn. That game will kick off 7:30 p.m. Eastern time in the game of the week for Saturday Night Football. First down right here on the carry, enough to go for the first down, and now they're inside the 10-yard line as Xavier Turner takes it up the middle for a first down. So that fumble helped out Seattle a ton. The Vikings had the ball for a moment, and Seattle with a tackle from behind, forcing out the fumble. 14 minutes left to go in this fourth quarter. We just started the fourth quarter momentarily. 1st and 10 here for the Seahawks, as they have the ball inside the red zone right now. Ball at the 8-yard line of Minnesota. Paxton Lynch in the shotgun, running back towards his right. That is Xavier Turner. Paxton Lynch will get the snap, and he'll go with a play action, but tackled from behind as his knee was down on the ground, and he thought that his knee wasn't. He still kept on going towards the end zone right there. We're going to see here on the replay what happened with Paxton Lynch, and ooh, it's close. Close. No, his knee was not down, but the refs rolled him down. Let's see from this angle. Oh man, that's close. That's all grass. The forearm was down though. So the forearm with the football by Paxton Lynch was down. Great call right there by the refs. Yes, very lucky right there with Seattle with that recovery. Very lucky because they have the ball now at the 12-yard line. That was a tackle for the loss. Running back toss. Left side. Takes it for around a gain of 3 on the play by Seattle. Bring it up a 3rd and goal. That run by Travis Homer goes for 3. 3rd and goal coming up for the Seahawks with the ball around the 9-yard line. So we are under 13 minutes left to go. This clock just keeps on running and running and running. Minnesota with 94 rushing yards. Seattle only had around 34 rushing yards when I last reported it a couple of commercial breaks ago on a few possessions, but now they have 67 rushing yards, doing a lot of rushing this time around. Shotgun formation, takes the snap, pass, down the middle of the field, almost intercepted. It was bobbled and dropped right there at the 2-yard line. That was almost a pick by Kentrell Brothers for the Minnesota Vikings. Paxton Lynch went shotgun right there, saw an open man in the end zone, just passed that one in the middle of the field. Jumping the route was Kentrell Brothers, and he's going to want to have that one back right there. Just, oh man, butterfingers on that play. Did everything right except catch the ball right there and intercept it. So field goal coming up 27 yards out here by the Seahawks. And this kick's up, and this kick is through the uprights. Right there, as that kick is good by Jason Myers. So, on play as they fumbled the ball, Minnesota recovered it, and then Minnesota got up with the ball, trying to run with it for like a brief, not even a second or so. They tried to get up with it. That's where Seattle tackled and punched it out from behind. Seattle actually recovered that, gave them great field possession. And right there, Paxton Lynch with a pass over the middle to the end zone. Saw an open man, but a defensive linebacker jumping the route just in time. Should have picked it off, but nope. It was incomplete with the butterfingers on the play. Led to the field goal make by Jason Myers. So 17-16 right now is the score. Minnesota will return this ball on the kick when we do get back to action here. So we'll have a kickoff coming up here on Final Yard Football. So right now we have 12 minutes, 20 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter of action here. Next stream will be Patriots-Panthers, and that game will be on Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Looking towards Paxton Lynch's numbers, big yikes tonight. 4 for 10. 40% completing on his passes. He also took a sack. Quarterback rating very, very low tonight by Paxton Lynch. 47.9 for his quarterback rating right now. Only 30 yards in the air. And if we were playing fantasy football right now and Paxton Lynch was a quarterback in the game, he would only be accountable for 1 fantasy point. For every 25 yards, there's a fantasy point, and right now he has 30 yards in the air. So that is just not a good number. So for Paxton Lynch, so much hype when the Denver Broncos picked him up in the draft. That was the 2016 draft. I remember that, number 26 overall draft pick. They thought that he'd be a good quarterback on the roster. So 2016, 2017 playing for Denver and just didn't amount to anything. 4 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, I believe, in his career time there. $12:16 left to go in the fourth quarter now as we get ready to go back to action here in the fourth quarter and Final Yard Football on YouTube. So Myers to kick this ball off. Minnesota to return as they'll return this one from 1 yard deep and out to the 10-yard line. And they get tackled, uprooted right there at the 16-yard line. On the return, what Dylan Mitchell, rookie from Oregon, 7th round draft pick, picked up draft pick number 239 in the draft. So ball will be taken over at the 16-yard line here for Minnesota at their own 16. We still have Kyle Sloter under center with Mike Boone in the backfield behind him. Sloter hands this one off to Boone. Boone moving towards his left side. All right, there in the weak side carry, and he'll get back to around the line of scrimmage. Brings up a 2nd and 10 on the play. Ezekiel Elliott, looking at the graphic here, they really need to pay him because that's still undecided if he's going to play this year for the Cowboys. And one of the most valuable players on the roster, you need to pay him. Jerry Jones and the Cowboys organization, that's for sure, because he needs to be out on the field opening day against the Giants. Play action fake here, slow there, down the middle of the field, complete, and first down pass goes right there for the Vikings into the hands of Laquan Treadwell. So that's a little helper out towards Laquan Treadwell with his case trying to make the roster right here. Just catches. All you need is catches down the field for Laquan Treadwell. He hasn't flashed much of anything as his time as a Minnesota Viking. He really needs to do something in this last quarter of the preseason against Seattle today and in the last 2 preseason games to make his case for the roster. Left side run, Mike Boone, as there was a defender tugging his jersey from the back right there. He'll gain 1 yard on the play. Brings up a 2nd and 9. 2nd and 9. Ball now at the Minnesota 33-yard line. Chicago looking good last season, and they're my pick once again to win the NFC North this upcoming season. 2nd and 9 coming up, ball at the 33-yard line here for the Vikings as we got running back toss. Left side, Mike Boone. Little misdirection. Left side for a second. Cut up the middle. Takes it for a gain of 2 on the play. Brings up a 3rd and 7. Yeah, I feel like that too. That Ezekiel Elliott's just going to be the next Le'Veon Bell for this season, where everybody picked up Le'Veon Bell like number 1 in the fantasy drafts past season. He didn't even play. It's so unfortunate. Oh, man. So unfortunate. At least the Steelers got James Conner now. So that's cool for the Steelers that they got a much-needed James Conner. Ooh, looks like somebody jumped a little bit off sides there for the Seahawks. Number 51 for the Seahawks on the defense. Jumping off sides. So we play the 3rd down right now. So that'll help out towards the Vikings cause with that offsides penalty, 5-yard penalty. Still replay the down though because it's 3rd and 2. Ball at the Minnesota 40. Vikings with the ball just needs 2 more yards to the first down. Kyle Sloter in empty formation here into the shotgun. Takes the snap, drops back, passes. Left side complete right at the sticks and great effort to stretch over the first down marker right there to pick up the first down by the tight end Cole Hicatini, 2nd-year tight end from Louisville, to pick up and move the chains with a first down catch. under 9 minutes left to go in this game right now in the 1-point game. Vikings moving the ball, trying to move it up the field once again with Kyle Sloter. As they have an ace formation, going to hand this one up the middle. Mike Boone gets around 1 or so on a carry. And it'll be a 2nd and 9 coming up at the field with the ball at the Minnesota 44-yard line. So 2nd and 9 here. 8:20 left to go in the 4th quarter right now. 44-yard line from Minnesota. And they're going to go play action. This ball goes into the air. Complete wide open to Treadwell down the middle of the field. And he brings it all the way to the 40-yard line. Good gain right there. Gain of 16 on that play by Laquan Treadwell. Really making the case right now that he could have a chance to stay on this roster if he keeps on receiving passes. Here in this game, looking at the stats right now for Laquan Treadwell, 3 receptions for 18 yards so far. So ball now at the 40-yard line of Seattle. Seattle on the defensive end. Kyle Sloter, play action fake, moving towards his right on the bootleg. Complete 1st down once again. Brandon Dillon, rookie from Marion in Division II he played, and he catches it for a whole new set of downs. Hey, we got King Jacob back. What's good, my man? Thanks so much for joining me back here. We have 7 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in the 4th quarter. And a 1-point game. The Vikings do have the ball now as they are now in Seattle territory. 17-16 is the score. Vikings with the ball. They have it at the 25-yard line of the Seattle's 25-yard line. Ace formation right now for Minnesota, going back, dropping back. Sloter passing. His receiver falling down. Flag of the play as he got tangled up. Laquan Treadwell got tangled up right there with number 36, Akeem King, the defensive back on that play for the Seahawks. That's going to be a pass interference call. That's going to be defensive pass interference on the play. Charge to Akeem King as King slipped and brought down Laquan Treadwell. Laquan Treadwell could have got off with the offensive PI too. He appeared to push down Akeem King on the play. That's why King fell down, and King slipped and tugged Laquan Treadwell right down to the ground. But yeah, I don't see Laquan Treadwell either making the team. Ball at the 15-yard line right now. Handoff up the middle. Big burst of speed to the 10, to the 7. With that big carry right there. 8-yard carry up the middle by the running back, number 23 for the Vikings. Right there, Mike Boone. So Mike Boone just keeps on churning the wheels in this game. 12 carries, 27 yards. He's got a whole lot of carries. Not a whole lot of yards, though, in this one. But yeah, Laquan Treadwell, what a disappointment, though. They take him 1st round in the draft back in 2016, and he just never amounted to anything. But if you hold on to a player for this long, and now it looks like he's not going to be the clear number 3, it looks like he's going to get cut from the team, as that run goes nowhere right there for a loss on the play. Brings up a 3rd and around 7 right there with a loss of 5 on the play by the Vikings. 6 minutes left to go in the 4th quarter here. Bobby Wagner didn't suit up today for this game, but he led the team in tackles last season. 3rd most tackles in the NFL with 138 tackles. 3rd and 5 here. Ball at the 10-yard line for the Vikings. Going shotgun, going empty. 5 wide set. Kyle Sloter takes the snap, pass down the middle. That ball, was it a catch by Treadwell? Looks like it hit the turf. Refs are going to say no. Incomplete. Laquan Treadwell thought he caught the ball. Oh, let's see here. Let's see if this is going to be a catch. There is a flag on the play. That looked like a helmet-to-helmet hit, too. Not going to matter anyway. Holding call on the defense. So it helps out the Vikings anyway. 1st and 10. With 5.5 left to go in the 4th quarter. So 1st and 10 anyway by the Vikings here. So the Seahawks defense commits the holding call. So we got 1st and goal here for the Vikings. (17-16) the scores. That clock keeps on running right now. 5:15 left to go in the 4th quarter. Let's see where this ball will be spotted once they load it up. Trying to see once they switch back to the screen where this ball will be spotted. Timeout call taken by the Vikings. And it'll be spotted at the Seattle 1. So that's where the ball will be spotted, at the Seattle 1-yard line. So at the very 1-yard line for the Vikings here when we do get back to action after this timeout for Kyle Sloter and company. Great game by the quarterback Sloter here in action. Once again, 11 for 13, 116 yards, and a touchdown pass by Sloter. He had a great game in the first preseason game of the season. 6 for 7, 62 yards and a TD pass. Let's see if he can pad the stat line once again with another TD pass from a yard out. So we got a 1st and goal coming up. This is a 7-minute drive and counting. 11 plays, 83 yards on this drive. This handoff up the middle, going in for the touchdown. Minnesota with 5:10 left to go. So touchdown carry goes to the fullback, number 48, Kari Blossomgame. Scores the touchdown. That's a 7-point game. 23-16 Minnesota. So let's see here on the play. The blocking up front, terrific here by the Vikings, as Sloter will hand this one off up the middle. Great job right there, just going behind purple jerseys, leading the way into the end zone by Kari Blossomgame for the TD carry. They're going to go for 2, actually, here on this play. So Kyle Sloter going in for the 2-point attempt. Shotgun formation with a running back. That's Mike Boone to his right. And nice fake play right there. Handoff to Mike Boone. Cashes it in for 2. That looked to be play action with the pass by Kyle Sloter. But no, Kyle Sloter hands it off on that fake play action play as Kyle Sloter fakes the pass, hands it off up the middle on the running back draw play, and cashing it into the end zone for 2 right there. Makes it 25-16 by Mike Boone. 5:10 left to go in the 4th quarter. Seattle will get this ball back after this kickoff on Final Yard Football on YouTube. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to spike that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button as well. If you like football in general, I'll be back for the next game. Patriots versus Panthers the next game. Tom Brady, Tom Terrific, TB12, the greatest of all time. He'll be in action against the Carolina Panthers this coming Thursday. That will be on August 22nd, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll have that stream for you guys. Also, I'll have the game Buffalo Bills taking on the Detroit Lions. That game Friday on CBS. I'll have that play-by-play for you guys. And Sunday night football game this upcoming week in the preseason. Pittsburgh Steelers taking on Tennessee. I'll have that one for you guys as well. 8 p.m. Eastern Time. But Mike Boone running it in with the 2-point conversion. And it's 25-16. So that was all in courtesy of Kari Blossomgame, the fullback who got the touchdown run from a 1-yard out, and then Mike Boone with a 2-point conversion rush as well on the HB draw on the shotgun on the last play. So it's a 9-point game. So it's a 2-score game here. Interesting. What I heard about the XFL a couple of months ago, when the XFL starts off the new league, when they do start XFL play for the first time ever, probably like this upcoming spring or so in the 2020, I think they were saying that 9-point plays were possible in the XFL or so, which is just really interesting. They were trying to go for like 9-point plays somehow in the XFL. So do I think the Vikings are going to be in the playoffs? I believe so. I think they're going to be borderline playoffs, but I think they'll be able to get like a 5 or 6, or it'll be like the number 5 or number 6 team out of the NFC when they do make it in. So I believe that the Vikings will be better this season, unless injuries do plague them with their receiving core. If anything does happen to Stephon Diggs or Adam Thielen, then they're basically done for the season, because they're led by those 2 wideouts. But if both of those players are healthy, if they have a healthy Dalvin Cook too, I think that Minnesota Vikings could be a 5 or 6 in the NFC playoffs. Hey, what's good? Philip Lindsay here with the Midwest Sports Raid. I appreciate it, my man. Thanks so much for joining me back here. Philip Lindsay naming all the players here on the channel. This is great. Can't wait to see what he'll do for the Broncos in his second year on the team. So this is a kick return. Returned here by Seattle. 10, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Left side sideline right there. Down at the 41-yard line on that kick return. We're right there by number 9 for the Seattle Seahawks. Goes to Terry Wright with a kick return. That's a 41-yard return. So we're 1 like away here from 10 plus likes on the channel. Let's hit that like button before I sign off tonight to do 10 likes here on the channel. You guys have been awesome throughout this course of this game tonight. Next game, Patriots versus Panthers. Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Feel free to join me there. Shotgun formation. This pass by Paxton Lynch. Incomplete. It went towards the left of his wide receiver, tight end right there. Incomplete. Actually, his wide receiver, Jazz Ferguson. It was intended for. Incomplete on the play. Brings up a 2nd and 10. Ball now at the 41-yard line of Seattle Seahawks territory. And the struggles continue in this game tonight for Paxton Lynch. 4 for 10 tonight. Actually, 4 for 11 as he missed that one. 2nd and 10 here at the 41 by Paxton Lynch. Shotgun formation. Takes the snap down the field. That pass complete somehow. Hauled in by Jazz Ferguson. Gain of 12. It is enough for a first down. Right there as they pass midfield. Ball will be spotted around the 49-yard line. Most probably not King Jacob. I probably won't be able to go to any of the Patriots games this season. Unfortunately, the big things like the ticket prices, it's so expensive there. I think like the cheapest ticket's like $350. All the other teams though, I'd honestly like to see the Patriots play on the road or so. Because Patriots tickets at Gillette, you can get them for like $350 for the cheapest tickets. Then it costs like $50 to park in the parking lots. Whereas like other teams, like their ticket prices are so low. Like you could probably like go to the Washington Redskins game against the Patriots, get a ticket for like $70 or so to see them play out at the Redskins field, and then get a hotel for even cheaper than what the actual ticket price costs for a Patriots game at Gillette Stadium. So I really enjoy watching the Patriots games. I haven't been to Gillette for a long time. That pass incomplete once again by Paxton Lynch over the head of his intended wide receiver at the left side for around a 5-yard pass, incomplete. And I'll bring up a 3rd and 10 here on the play. Paxton Lynch is just really struggling in this game. 5 for 14, 42 yards in the air right now. It's a 3rd and 10 ball at the 47-yard line. Yeah, it's just so expensive. That's why I really enjoy watching the Patriots on TV. And in some of the seats, you can't even see the game at all. You have to watch from the big screen or so, because you can barely see the game at all because they're so high up. The players look like little ants down the field. That pass, though, is complete. And a broken tackle for a first down, going down all the way to the 21-yard line. That's a big pickup right there in the play. 1st and 10. At around the 21-22 yard line by the Seahawks right there in Paxton Lynch. So finally a completion right there. 25-yard completion by Paxton Lynch. So 1st and 10. 4 minutes left to go in the 4th quarter. Paxton Lynch shotgun. Hands this ball. Oh no. Fake handoff right there. Moving towards his left. Ooh, that's a big hit. Slide right there. And the offensive lineman for the Seahawks didn't like that. Paxton Lynch slid down on the ground and the defender took a big shot to his helmet. Should have been a flag on that play. That is just unnecessary. That is crowning with a helmet, leading in with a helmet, helmet-to-helmet contact. I cannot believe the refs did not call that. 2nd-year player from the University of Texas, Holton Hill, with a helmet-to-helmet contact as Paxton Lynch took it on the quarterback read left side for 2 yards, slid right down, and that is a concussion waiting, asking for it by Paxton Lynch. Ouch. Hopefully he's okay right there. That is a hard hit. Straight to the helmet. Can't believe they didn't call that. Man. They were supposed to cut back on these helmet-to-helmet calls. There was a bad one a couple years ago. Thursday Night Football. Not this past year. It was the season before in 2017. Danny Trevathan of the Chicago Bears against Green Bay Packers. I think it was Cobb of Green Bay. You got the helmet-to-helmet hits. That was just oh man, just ugly hits, man. Tony Romo's reaction to that was Quite the reaction. Oh, Jim. Oh, no, Jim. I don't know how he's going to get up from this one, Jim. Oh, no. No. But, yeah, that was crazy, that hit. Helmet. Oh, it was Davante Adams. Yeah, both of those players played on the same team for the Packers. Randall Cobb, Davante Adams. It was Davante Adams. Brutal hit. That was back in 2017 on Thursday Night Football. The whole mouthpiece went out and the helmet went off on that hit. So let's see. Who do I think will take MVP this year? Interesting. Ah, man. I am really high on Alvin Kamara, actually. I had Alvin Kamara on my fantasy team last season. But yeah, I'm really high on Alvin Kamara. I think that he can be up in the running for MVP. I think the Saints can really go far as well. For fantasy football purposes, make sure to draft Saquon Barkley in the first round. He could be like a #1 overall fantasy football player by the end of the season as far as total points or so with Saquon Barkley. He was so consistent last season. I think a big season is due once again for Saquon Barkley in his second season in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, of course, never count out Patrick Mahomes, the young phenom up there in the MVP running for his second season as starting quarterback, third season in the NFL. As far as wide receivers, Michael Thomas, also from the Saints, making the money bag. He's going to be a top wideout. So he could definitely be in the MVP running. Still love that Saints offense. Kamara, Thomas. They got Latavius Murray now in as running back. Mark Ingram's now with the Baltimore Ravens, as that Baltimore Ravens team's actually really speedy with the players they picked up alongside Lamar Jackson. So it's going to be an interesting team to look at. I know they downgraded their defense a little bit, but never count out the Ravens or so to still sneak into the AFC playoff picture. So right now we have 4 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. Ball at the Minnesota 9-yard line, first and goal. So Seattle with the ball right now, first and goal for, that is not Paxton Lynch into the game. So they substituted the quarterbacks right now. That is number 6, that's JT Barrett into the game from Ohio State. JT Barrett with a pass over the top. It is hauled in, but he is out of bounds. Both of the feet were on the chalk by Jazz Ferguson. Out of bounds at the left corner of the end zone, incomplete. So let's see here. 1 foot. Yep, that foot's on the chalk. Second one was halfway in the end zone, halfway on the white. And both of the feet weren't in bounds, so that is an incomplete pass to the left corner of the end zone. JT Barrett into the game now as quarterback. First one was an incomplete pass. 2-year career at Ohio State, 104 touchdown passes and 30 interceptions. JT Barrett will go and hand this one off up the middle for around a gain of 2 on the play by Travis Homer. Brings up a 3rd and goal with 3:40 left to go in the 4th. And this is just a really been a really good game. Just 9 points though is the difference. I'd like to see Seattle score here and force a onside kick. I'd like to see what this onside kick looks like in the preseason here for the Seahawks. That'd be cool to see. I haven't seen a whole lot of onside kicks this past season or so, so this would be great to see one late in this game. Paxton Lynch, though, with that slide down, that looked to appear to be helmet-to-helmet contact hit when he slid down by the defender. That should have been called by the rest. No excuse by that. Oh, yeah, Michael Thomas is definitely going to be much better than Antonio Brown this season. I would avoid Antonio Brown, by the way, for if you guys do play fantasy football. I would avoid him at all costs and pick him up a little bit later, like late in the 2nd round, early in the 3rd round possibly. Don't take him in the 1st round for sure, because all the on and off the field distractions just for Antonio Brown, it's just been a huge problem. It was a distraction for the Steelers last year. Didn't even make the playoffs. Now he plays for the Raiders. And he filed that whole thing about his helmet, the helmet grievance, that he said that he wouldn't play this year if he wasn't able to use his old helmet. And the NFL, he lost that whole case, and the NFL had to make him wear the new helmet, and then they made him wear like a new helmet that's like a revised version of it or something like that. I guess Antonio Brown said that that helmet kind of like affected his vision or something like that or so. It's just what an ego the guy has. He's so talented, but oh man, what a ego the guy has. Just thinks he's just like the best thing ever out there. But yeah, best of luck with him playing with the Raiders this season with all the distractions that he caused the Steelers and had them missing the playoffs. Yeah, big crybaby for sure. There was that game 2 years ago that he dumped the whole water cooler. The team water cooler just chucked it down and chucked his helmet down after one of the plays. He was upset on the field. But yeah, I remember Antonio Brown kicking a man or so. He was on one of the punt returns. I think it was back early in his career. So I think it was Steelers against Browns. He returned a punt and he kicked the opposing punter from the Cleveland Browns trying to make the tackle. No need for that, and that caused a flag on the play. But I remember Ian Eagle called that game, and he was great call by Ian Eagle on his call, saying Antonio Brown kicks a man, and yeah, Dan Fouts wasn't too happy about Antonio Brown alongside color commentator Antonio Brown kicking the punter for Cleveland at the time. Didn't need to do that, caused the flag. He had clear green, could have returned that for a punt return for a touchdown. Last time I seen him return a punt return for a touchdown, he also hugged the field goal post, the padding below the goal post crossbars. He went up to it, and then he did a little dance behind it as well. So 25-16 right now the score. Back to action after the injury here by the Seahawks. Ball placed at the 7-yard line, 3rd and goal by Seattle. As JT Barrett takes the snap, trying to avoid this pressure. Got to get out of it. Rolling towards his left right now for Barrett. Going to tuck it in to run, and he's going to avoid the tacklers. Doesn't get to the end zone. But nice move to get to around the 2-yard line and out of bounds by JT Barrett. So they should be going for 4th down here by the Seahawks. Either way, they can cut this to a 7-point game if they do kick the field goal. So either way, they can kick the field goal, go for the onside kick. It would be 25-19 if they do kick this field goal. We'll see what they do here. Ball at the 2-yard line. 4th and goal at the Minnesota 2. We're going to see if they keep this ball and go for it right now. They're going to put on their kicking team. So they got their kicking team out with Myers here. Going on for an easy chip shot 20 yards away. And this kick is up. This kick's good. So pulling within 7 points right now. 25-19 the score. 3:12 left to go in the 4th quarter, and the Vikings will receive this ball. But it'll be an onside kick most likely coming up. 3:12 left to go in the 4th. Oh, yeah, that was a dirty hit right there. The wild card game, Bengals against Steelers. What a terrible defeat for Cincinnati. They had it, and then the hit to the helmet, Vontaze Burfict against Antonio Brown. Man, the Bengals had it. Jeremy Hill's fumble caused it all with like 1.5 minutes left to go. And then the Steelers had like 80 yards to go downfield for the end zone to win the game. And then the dirty hit by Burfict that was a incomplete pass, unneeded, uncalled for. And then Pac-Man Jones getting into the contact with the official after the penalty with another 15-yard penalty, put it in, and the rest is history, and the Steelers won the game. That was unfortunate for the Bengals. Hey, no problem, King Jacob. Thanks so much, man, for joining me on the channel tonight. I appreciate it, my man. Anytime, feel free to join me back here on the channel. I'll be back. Next game will be on Thursday, as this is an onside kick, and that is a really bad. That's more like a squib kick, actually, as it wasn't really an onside. It was more like a squib kick, downed by the Vikings. So they'll get the ball back here with 3:12 left to go in the 4th quarter. 25-19 the score, as Minnesota should be running out the clock here momentarily. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button as well. Back on Thursday night, Patriots, Panthers, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time with the next game. And make sure to hit that thumbs up down there. We're almost 1 like away from 10+ likes on the channel, guys. So this is awesome. So Vikings with the ball as they're going to hand it off up the middle. Big green right here, 30-35, taking it for a first down, gain of 12. On a rushing play right there by Mike Boone. Mike Boone has got some good carries so far, seeing his opportunities increase in this game by Mike Boone. Had a big run right there for a first down. Ball now at the 37-yard line of Minnesota territory. 15 carries for 44 yards in this game by Mike Boone and a 2-point conversion. That was his longest run in this game, 12-yard run. It looked like he had big green on the field, like a whole row of grass to take that into the end zone if he could beat a couple more defenders. 1st and 10 here by the Vikings. They'll run it once again, right side, and they'll gain 2 more yards by Mike Boone with 2:18 left to go on the clock. Timeout taken here. So timeout will be taken on the clock. It looks to appear to be by the Seahawks with 2:18 left to go in the 4th quarter. So Seattle and Pete Carroll down to one more timeout on the field right now as this is Final Yard Football on YouTube. Looking at some of the statistics so far in this game today. Great game by Kyle Sloter passing the ball. 11 for 13 passing for Minnesota. 116 yards and a touchdown pass up the middle of the field by Kyle Sloter as that touchdown catch was hauled in on the receiving end by Irv Smith Jr., the tight end, leading the way in the reception category. 5 receptions today by Irv Smith Jr. in this game for 28 yards. 2:18 left to go. This handoff up the right side, strong side handoff, and around a no gain or so. Back to the line of scrimmage right there for Minnesota on the play. And that'll take us to the 2-minute warning. It'll bring up a 3rd down, 3rd and 8 at the Minnesota 39. When we do get back to action here on Final Yard Football on YouTube, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel as I call play-by-play of football action throughout the preseason into the actual regular season as well. Week 1 actual NFL season is almost upon us. September 8th on the Sunday, I believe, that the festivities begin, but also the 100th NFL game as well. Thursday Night Football kicks off with the 100th season. Packers, Bears at Soldier Field. Thursday, September 5th is the first game of the NFL. I'll have that game for you guys on. That'll take place on the NBC. And then Sunday, September 8th will be the first actual Sunday of football action there with a whole slate of games going out. And then Monday Night Football as well on Monday, November 9th has 2 matchups that night. The very late game on the West Coast, Broncos Raiders, will conclude Week 1 of the NFL matchup for Week 1 for football. So looking at both of these teams here, Seattle will take on an unlikely opponent in Week 1 as the NFC West get the AFC North this season. So they kick it off with the Cincinnati Bengals at Seattle at CenturyLink Field. So the Seahawks Week 1 play against Cincinnati, 4 or 5 start time on CBS. And we'll look to see what the Minnesota Vikings have first week of the season. They host that's going to be a great game. They kick it off against the Atlanta Falcons, 1 p.m. Eastern time on Fox. 3rd and 8 here. 2 minutes left to go in the 4th quarter. Handoff right side. And big burst of speed takes it past the sticks, but they do get out of bounds for the first down. Right there on the run by Minnesota. Big burst of speed by Mike Boone, and that just about does it in this game today right here with 1:54 left to go in the 4th quarter. Couldn't get inbounds, stay in bounds of the play, but he takes it out of bounds, but the first down run right there by Mike Boone basically ends this game as Minnesota can down it now with no timeouts once again by the Seahawks. So the ball now at the Seattle 46-yard line, 25-19 looking to be the final score of this one with 1:54 left to go in this game. Bears defense is nasty. Make sure to pick them up if you play fantasy. Make sure to snag them before anybody else can because the Bears defense is going to be nasty. Also, you have two times they play against the Detroit Lions in the season. That's 2 times that offense probably won't be clicking together at all, and a lot of turnovers I can smell for sure. So Seattle just took their final timeout with 1:49 left to go on the clock here. Actually, I'm going to pull up the Chicago Bears schedule for 2019 for fantasy purposes. If you play fantasy football, make sure to take them as we're going to look towards the schedule here for the Chicago Bears, what they have throughout the season. They get the Packers first. And then, oh man, you get a plug and play 2 weeks in a row if you have the Chicago Bears defense. At Mile High against Denver. Denver, a team that struggling offensively with Joe Flacco. 2nd and 9 here. Running right side, have to stay in bounds, and he does by Mike Boone. Picks up around 4 on the play with 1:40 left to go. This clock will run down. So they get the Denver Broncos week 2 on Sunday, September 15th. The Chicago Bears do. And the Bears defense should be all over that Broncos offense for sure. And then they get the Washington Redskins. Rookie quarterback Dwayne Haskins. The whole team banged up on the wide receiving core. That should be another positive game for the Bears as well. They do have the Vikings. That's going to be a tough matchup. September 29th on a Sunday. They get the Raiders on October 6th. That game is in London, England. 1 p.m. start time. Usually the London games are early in the morning, like 9 in the morning for most of the London games. 3rd and 5 here for the Vikings. Moving up the middle, and they get around a 1-yard carry here by Mike Boone with under a minute left to play in action of this one. They do have a couple of tough teams on the schedule. Saints, Chargers, back-to-back weeks. Then the Eagles. Then they have the Lions for the Chicago Bears. So the LA Rams are in there. The Giants, the Lions, the Cowboys, the Packers, the Chiefs, and the Vikings. But early on in the season, that is an automatic plug-and-play Chicago Bears defense against the Denver Broncos and the Washington Redskins in weeks 2 and 3 of the NFL season and back-to-back weeks. But yeah, this game's basically done. This play clock will expire to double zeros, 4th and 5, and it'll be 4th and 5, so they're going to have to punt it away here. So the Vikings will punt away to Seattle with 16 seconds left to go on the clock. So delay a game right now for the Vikings. They'll back it up 5 yards. And this will be it for the game once we do conclude right after this. But thanks so much, guys, for joining me. My 3rd ever live stream here on the channel. Before you go, make sure to give that the thumbs up down below. Hit that subscribe button as well. The Final Yard Football on YouTube if you guys like basketball. Also, feel free to subscribe to my basketball channel, Behind the Arc Basketball on YouTube. So this punt will go up in the air here by Matt Weil. It's punted, fielded at the 10-yard line by Seattle. And they get undercut around the 11-yard line right there with 6 seconds left to go. So 6 seconds left to go, and there'll be a Hail Mary toss to end this game for the Seahawks. So 6 seconds left to go, and the Seahawks will have to go for like a 90-yard or so Hail Mary pass. And we'll see who's in at quarterback here. Geno Smith has not played today. J.T. Barrett did the last drive as quarterback. Took over for Paxton Lynch. And J.T. Barrett will close it. So Hail Mary coming up from the 12-yard line. From their own 12-yard line. Has to throw 88 yards to the end zone here for J.T. Barrett in the shotgun. Going prevent defense for the Vikings. J.T. Barrett steps up and he's just going to chuck it downfield. That pass is dropped with a second left to go. It's just a pass, like a 12-yard pass just over the sticks right there. Incomplete to Jazz Ferguson. So I guess J.T. Barrett is not Hail Mary quarterback at all. Maybe looking for some laterals. That's what they were looking at on that play. Trying to be like the Miami Miracle against the Patriots. Maybe that's what they were looking at. But here we are. 1 second left as he dropped it. Maybe it was maybe that was a good drop. Sensing the coverage was there and that he had no teammates to set up the lateral. So maybe a good drop right there. We'll see. 1 second left to go. Ball at the 12-yard line. 88 yards to the end zone. Barrett takes the snap. Back to pass. Passes middle of the field. Complete for the catch. But, oh no, intercepted. That ball is intercepted right there in the middle of the field. Looked like it was caught for a second with a player going in the middle of the field, but no, he tumbled down to the ground. Devontae Downs, second-year player out of California, picks off the ball in the middle of the field. Interception to end it by the Vikings. So the Minnesota Vikings come away with the W here tonight, as this is Final Yard Football on YouTube. The Vikings coming out victorious, preseason action 25-19, the final. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me in here on the channel. Before you go, give this the thumbs up down below. Hit that subscribe button as well. And I'll be back next stream for you guys, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. it'll be the Patriots on this coming Thursday going up against the Carolina Panthers. And Tom Brady, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, will be back in action for his first ever action in a game this season for the Patriots at 42 years old. Something really impressive. But this does it for the stream tonight. Thanks so much, everybody. Signing off. Have a nice night, everybody. The Minnesota Vikings win it 25-19 in the final. Have a nice night, everybody, and thank you so much. And join me back if you like on Thursday, Pats versus Carolina. Signing off, this is Final Yard Football on YouTube.